Good morning and warm welcome to the participants on the workshop on leveraging India UK CETA Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement for MSME Exporters, organized by FICCI in association with the Center for Trade and Investment Law CTIL, with the support of SBA as a premium partner and AU Small Finance Bank as supporting partner. We are really glad to have the presence of the EXIM community and also from the business community at large also for this very important event. As you are aware, this program is being conducted by FICCI along with CTA in various parts of the country. Already Jaipur, as we have conducted the program, now it's happening at Kochi. I would like to invite all our key dignitaries to the dais. Mainly, we have with us the AP Mahmood Anish, Principal Secretary, Industries, Government of Kerala. So, kindly be on the dais. Mr. Gurgaran Singh Bains, IRS Commissioner of Customs, Customers Cochin, please join the dais. Mr. Hussain Usaid, Deputy Director, DGFT Kochi. Dr. James J. Nedumbara, Professor Head, Center for Trade and Investment Law, India Chair, Radio Chairs Program. Mr. Alice K. Nayan, Chair, FICCI KEC Task Force on Exports, and also Vice Chairman, MPD, and also Managing Partner, Baby Marine Private Limited. I also invite Mr. Richard Hurd, Chair, UK India Business Council, will be joining virtually for this program. I also take this opportunity to welcome all our partners, all our distinguished speakers for the other sessions also, who will be joining subsequently in the various discussions. Namely, Mr. Srikumar, Professor, Jain University, Mr. Deepthi Nair, Director, Marketing Cognitive Development Board, Mr. Basit Narayan Jha, Director, Marketing Spice Board of India, Mr. Simi Unnikrishnan, Assistant General Manager, Regional Head, APADA, Mr. Anil Kumar, Regional Vice Chairperson, EPS and Honorary Secretary, Cochin Special Organization, Ms. Sunanta Tiwari, Consultant, Center for Trade and Investment Law, Mr. Vishishta Mahalhotra, Associate GTIL, Mr. Mjit Kaur, Research Fellow, Center for Trade and Investment, and also our supporting partner, Mr. Arun Sugumaran, Head Regional Treasury Marketing Unit, SBI. He will be also making presentation on the SBI aspects also. With this, I would request Sri Alice K. Nayan to deliver the welcome address.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my privilege and pleasure to extend a very warm welcome to all of you to the workshop Leveraging India-UK Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, in short it's called CETA, for MSME exporters, being organized by the FICCI State Council in association with the Center for Trade and Investment Law, short CETA, in partnership with WTO Chairs Program, supported by the State Bank of India as a premier partner and AU Small Financing Bank as a supporting partner. We are indeed honored by the presence of an eminent gathering today. Senior government officials, trade experts, academicians, industry leaders and exporters, and all united by a shared objective of enhancing India's trade competitiveness and strengthening Kerala's global economic linkages. The proposed India-UK Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement is one among the most significant trade initiatives. Both nations, India and UK, share deep-rooted historic, cultural, and economic ties, and the agreement promises to bring a new dimension to bilateral trade and investment flows. The UK has been one of India's top trading partners and a major investor. This agreement is expected to further ease market access, reduce barriers, and enhance cooperation in key sectors such as manufacturing, renewable energy, education, healthcare, technology, and services. For Kerala, the major exports comprises of food and agro products including seafood and spices, textiles, handicrafts, light engineering goods, gems and jewelry, and hence this pact could open new frontiers for exports and partnerships. Our exporters, particularly MSMEs, can leverage this platform to integrate more deeply with global value chains, attract technology transfer, and expand to newer markets. I know the experts will elaborate on some of the topics, and the senior officials from commodity boards and export bodies will also share their perspectives. At FICCI, our constant endeavor is to serve as a bridge between industry and government and global partners, and to ensure that such opportunities translate into tangible growth for businesses on the ground. Through this workshop, we aim to facilitate informed dialogue on how MSME exporters from Kerala can prepare for this CETA framework. They can address technical and regulatory challenges and identify the specific areas where the state and the central government policies can support exporters in capitalizing on the evolving India-UK architecture. With this, I would take this opportunity to extend a warm welcome to our key dignitaries and speakers to this event. Mr. Mohammad Anish IAS, he needs no special invitation at all. And recently Kerala has won the Ease of Doing Business Award, and without him, this wouldn't have happened, sir. So he's the Principal Secretary, Industries, Government of Kerala. Sir, I warmly welcome you to this event, sir. Thank you. Mr. Gurukaran Singh Bains, IRS, Commissioner of Customs at Customers Cochin. He's very trade-friendly and an energetic person I've seen. So I can call him, he's a live wire as well. Sir, we warmly welcome you to this August gathering, sir. Fortunately, Mr. Sridharan Dharmarajan, the Additional Director General of Foreign Trade, was supposed to be here. In his absence, I warmly welcome Mr. Hassan Hussain. He's the Deputy Joint Director General of Foreign Trade. I warmly welcome you also to this August gathering, sir. Mr. Richard Hale, Chair of the UK-India Business Council, is joining us virtually. I warmly welcome him also to this event. He's the professor and head for the Center for Trade and Investment Law and India Chair of WTO Chairs Program. Mr. James, I'm sorry, I made a mistake there. Mr. James Nedubara is the professor and head of Center for Trade and Investment Law and Indian Chair for WTO Chairs Program. And Mr. Savia Matthew is a head for FICCI, the Kerala State Council. I warmly welcome FICCI also to this gathering, Mr. Savia also to this gathering. I also welcome other speakers of the session who would be addressing us during the program. They are Mr. K. Srikumar, is a professor of Jain University. Ms. Deepti Nair S., Director Marketing of Coconut Development Board. Mr. Basit Narayan Jha, Director Marketing of Spices Board of India. Mr. Anil Kumar has not joined us, so Mr. Ansar Ali is taking his place. He's the Joint Director Marketing of the Marine Products Export Development Authority. Ms. Simi Unnikrishnan, Assistant General Manager and Regional Head of EPEDA. Then Mr. Anil Kumar, PC, Regional Vice Chairperson and EPCES and Honorary Secretary, Cochin Economic Zone. Ms. Sunanda Tiwari, she is a consultant to the Center for Trade and Investment Law. Mr. Vishish Malhotra, Associate for Center for Trade and Investment Law. Ms. Imjot Kaur, Research Fellow at the Center for Trade and Investment Law. Mr. Arun Sukumaran, Head Regional Treasury Marketing Unit of the State Bank of India. I would like to extend a warm welcome to the esteemed officials from State Bank of India, our premier partner, as well as the representatives of AU Small Finance Bank, our supporting partner. I also welcome the media representatives and all distinguished invitees from the industry and trade. We are confident that the discussions this morning will lead to meaningful insights, public recommendations, policy recommendations, and actionable strategies to strengthen Kerala's role as a major contributor to India's growth story under the India-UK partnership framework. Once again, I welcome you all to this gathering and wishing you fruitful deliberations and wishing you great success for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Alex K. Nayan, Chair of KKC Task Force on Exports. I would now request Dr. James Tidumbara, Professor Head, Center for Trade and Investment Law and India Chair, WHAS Program. As you are aware, Center for Trade and Investment Law was established in 2016 by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, at the Institute of Foreign Trade, and Center primary objects to provide sound and rigorous analysis of legal issues pertaining to international trade and investment law. The Center also conduct various events and programs for the promotion of trade and investment for the government authorities as well as trade at large. Over to Dr. James for the opening remarks.
So, thank you. So, Dr. Hanish, Principal Secretary, the Government of Kerala. Dr. Richard Held, the Chair, UK Business Council. Mr. Gurkaran Singh, Commissioner of Customs House, Kochi. Mr. Sridhar Dharmarajan, he is not here, by the way. Distinguished members of this particular audience, especially the speakers, the participants, and my colleagues. I should actually say that the India-UK Comprehensive Economic Trade Agreement is perhaps one of the most important India has signed more than 60 trade agreements, and India has been part of the But when we look at the achievement of it actually cements a long-standing relationship between two major economies. At the moment, India is the fourth largest economy in the world, but I think we can actually measure the relationship in terms of the size of the GDP. A number of Indians, especially a lot of people from Kerala, are working in the UK, maybe in the corporate sector in the UK or in the national health service in the UK, and we have got historic ties with the country. And I should also mention that this particular agreement that India has signed with the in July this year is also a major shift towards India's FTA approach to the Western world. Hitherto, I should say until 2022, India was basically focused on the ASEAN economies or the East Asian countries. Then in 2022, India started an agreement with the UAE, an interim agreement, a fairly comprehensive interim agreement with the Australia, then immediately started the initiative with the European Union and the UK. Generally speaking, trade agreements are extremely complex, and I should also mention the role that we play here. I am heading an agency which is established by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry in 2016. And our job is to make sure that in trade agreements when we negotiate, we have to actually support the government in the negotiations, because this is a text-based activity. And at the same time, we have to actually receive the inputs from the stakeholders, and their concerns and sensitivities are properly factored into the negotiation. This agreement has nearly 32 chapters, and that's why I said it is a comprehensive agreement, and it has a number of issues which are generally outside the realm of trade, like environment, labor, anti-corruption, good regulatory. Then we have a very comprehensive engagement on services, goods, mobility issues. Very good starting point, and we now know that the international economic climate is not actually very conducive for trade. Every country is trying to come up with a barrier. The United States has imposed a very hefty import tariff on India. The European Union, again, is not actually a hugely, growing economy. Their growth rates are fairly stagnant. China is a big country, but exporting to China is actually impossible to an extent. So the way we operate in business is actually, extremely constrained, I should say. We don't have too many opportunities, and we have to seize the opportunities that actually come our way. And the purpose of this workshop is to ensure that the people who really matter, the people who engage in international trade, the people who engage in the service sector, the people who supply goods and services to the other countries, actually know about this very comprehensive agreement. The text of the agreement is around bulky, quite around 800 pages. And if you take into account the schedule of concessions in goods, services, government procurement, and the related areas, it will come to nearly 2,000 plus pages. So it is a very big and bulky agreement. And that is why we have to reduce the agreement into an understandable language and then talk to the people, the stakeholders, in an engaging and meaningful fashion. I'm extremely delighted that the government of Kerala, especially Mr. Hanish, has taken the initiative, and as he rightly mentioned, Kerala has got the first place in the ease of doing business, which is again a good sign that the Kerala government is taking the right steps. And then we have got important representatives from customs. In fact, we also work very closely with them, with the DGFT in these negotiations, and also with the CBIC and related departments. And also let me congratulate FICCI for organizing this workshop. We have an MOU with both FICCI and CII. And this is the first time we are doing a major consultation or maybe a post-FTA discussion event in Kerala. We had done, when the fisheries agreement was actually happening last year, we did a major program with MPDA and also with the Bay of Bengal Inter-Government Organization in November 2024. So without, since many dignitaries are already in the press, in this audience, I do not want to take further time. Actually, I have got a small session immediately after that. I will try to break down this particular part. So thank you very much and welcome again.
Thank you, Dr. James Nedumara, Professor Head and Center for Trade Investment Law, and India Chair WTO Chairs Program for the opening remarks. Now, I'm really glad to invite Sri APM Mamda Anish, IAS Principal Secretary Industries Government of Kerala. Sir has been always supporting to FICCI, and we have been always collaborating each other for various activities. In fact, Kerala recently got the first in these of doing business consecutively for the last year and this year also. And sir is leading the department very efficiently and also with all the support from the industry. Over to sir for the keynote address.
Mr. Gurkaran Singh Bains, IRS Commissioner of Customs, Cochin. Mr. Hassan Ustad, Deputy DDG Foreign Trade. Dr. James J. Nedumara, Professor and Head, Center for Trade and Investment Law, and India Chair, WTO Chairs Program. Mr. Alex K. Naina, Mr. Savio Matthew, dignitaries of the dais, ladies and gentlemen. We are all just back from Delhi after a euphoric evening, and that too 2 days back. Certainly that smugness of that victory or the success, which has been repeated for the second year, perhaps would be there. At the same time, without getting overawed about these rankings and also about the kind of categories and the status that a state like Kerala, which is never known for industry and commerce, would obtain, is something which we have to always keep in mind. Rankings may come, rankings may go, but ultimately it is about the actual ease of doing business, and also about understanding the winds of change blowing across the continents that is of prime importance. In this present stage, from Japan in the east to United States of America in the west, the kind of power shifts and also the dynamics that have come about in terms of the changes in international relations and also the shift of the power balances needs to be studied in detail. We have our countries with huge economies which are absolutely inward looking and also seeing to it that the kind of dominance that is brought about in the world trade is fueled by as many laws as possible to protect and preserve the domestic trade. I am reminded of one of our countries, in this world with which we have a kind of a very interesting relationship. The paint industry completely or more or less depends on titanium dioxide for most of its production processes. And titanium dioxide, interestingly, is made by two public sector undertakings situated in Kerala. One is the Kerala Minerals and Metals Limited, and second is the Travancore Titanium Products Limited. Very rare among the state public sector undertakings to take up this titanium dioxide. Suddenly there is a huge decrease in terms of the price of the TiO2 pigment in the market as a result of the sudden influx of titanium dioxide pigments from different parts. Anti-dumping duty naturally would be contemplated, and with a great deal of effort, with a great deal of investigations that were carried out by the DGTR, the Director General of Trade Remedies, the anti-dumping duty was put in place. Now thereafter, naturally enough, when the industry gets hit, the industry goes back to the court again. And there is a stay on the order that has been pronounced by the Union of India. The case is going on. This is just an illustration of how intense the trade wars are. Maybe iniquitous, it may not be a balanced, level playing field. At the same time, it would be the endeavor of every nation to see to it that, beyond the realm of the political diplomacy and also the defense-based strategic planning that happens all the time, we should always look at the present day's importance given to trade and commerce. Trade and commerce ultimately has become the bread and butter as far as not just the economic forces of the country, but also for the very existence of our diplomatic missions across the globe today. Today when I speak with our colleagues in the Indian Foreign Service, beyond the regular, the kind of thesis and synthesis that goes on between the different nations and the heads of different governments regarding the political blocs and the kind of positioning of themselves in the international committee, it is trade-related activity and industry-related activity that has been fueling, that has been accelerating the pace of collaboration and cooperation between different countries. This is especially so in these recent years when the government of India has taken the initiative in forging with the kind of generous support and the limitless inputs that have been given by brilliant personalities like Dr. Deems and others for the framing of these agreements across the globe. United Arab Emirates, we know quite well because of the huge presence of the Malayali diaspora over there. CEPA, it is CEPA, isn't it? CEPA was signed long back. We can certainly understand the favorable impact which it has made on at least the MSME sector in Kerala. The micro, small, medium enterprise sector. In Kerala, I can certainly vouch for the fact that with the kind of huge push that we had given since 2022, with the Year of Enterprise program, which has been appreciated by the Prime Minister of India, as well as recorded as a global practice by the American Society of Public Administration. This particular program has created 4,75,000 new MSMEs. Maybe single man, single person, 2 persons are employed, or 4 persons are employed. But 2 points emerge, very interesting points. 38% of the total MSMEs that have come about newly between 22 and 25 are in the food processing sector. Second, a great deal of garment exports are taking place as a result of the women-driven enterprises, MSMEs across the state. According to the Udyam figures that we have here, 47% of the total MSMEs in the state are either women-controlled or women-dominated. Congratulations to the women folk across the state. They are the real I would say not the heroines, but the heroes of the state. So these exports, where did they go to? Many markets were sought, especially the UAE being very close to us. It has been a great source of comfort for us. That's the time wherein I would not delve into the details of it since the discussions are still going on with the Big Apple still ready for being consumed or not. At the same time, of course, the discussions with the United States of America is continuing, and I would not delve too much into it in official detail. But at the same time, we need to look into other markets as well. Some countries in South America, for instance, Brazil, for instance, has been one country wherein Indian companies have been making their presence in large numbers, especially in the food crop related sector, especially in the cash crop related sector, precisely in the rubber sector for that matter. Coming on to Europe, be the Northern Europe, the Nordic countries, the Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and Finland, it's been fintech and IT sector that's been prominent. And in the continental Europe, we find ever so many initiatives taken up either in Germany or in France or in United Kingdom. And when we go to speak about the continent of Africa, several countries are opening up in terms of the potential. I was so delighted to find in one of my travels, air travels, to find one of our most popular singers in the flight. I asked that lady as to where she was proceeding to. She told me, I'm going to Tanzania. I asked her why. She told me, sir, there is at least something like 2,500 Keralites over there, and I'm going to sing before them. So to invite this gifted singer from Kerala, bring her to Dar es Salaam or Dar es Salaam or that capital over there, and then have the program. Definitely, it certainly speaks volumes about the economic potential and the strength that Keralites have come to accrue or rather possess in countries on the eastern side as well as the countries on the western side of Africa. Gone are the times when teachers and engineers used to go to some countries of Africa and make some fortunes and come back. But today, ever so many persons going there. To the Central Asia, in Kazakhstan as well as Azerbaijan, how many professionals are actually involved in oil operations, in the gas exploration? We can see that. Many companies have been following suit as well. Now to cap it all, with the kind of historic, the kind of extraordinary kind of linkages of history between United Kingdom and India, we have come to the CETA, the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement. It's one of the finest pieces. I should congratulate everyone involved in the task, including Dr. James for that. Congrats for that. And I've gone through it in some detail. And we have had our discussions in the State Planning Board and also in the presence of the Honorable Chief Minister. A great deal of focus can be provided on A, the light engineering, industry, B, about the IT sector, and C, about the kind of value additions that can be brought about in the food sector. These are three areas which come to my mind immediately. And even though the size of the country is small, as I was discussing with my colleague from the Indian Trade Service, in fact, it is the third largest economy in Europe. Am I right? Third largest economy in Europe. And also, it has that intrinsic strength across the globe as well. Now, how do we leverage that? As far as Kerala is concerned, or for that matter, any other country or any other state is concerned, three parameters are absolutely essential for a product to be competitive. Number one is the kind of cost of production, how the cost of production could be reduced with the infusion of new technology. Number two would be the kind of harnessing of the human resources, the talent pool that exists in the state or elsewhere. And number three would be about the uniqueness or the value addition and the quality that's brought about for this product as well. So quality, cost of production, and the utilization of the talent pool becomes of utmost significance as far as any country is concerned for us to grow up. This is very, very important. So with this kind of potential, today when we have this discussion happening here, we intend to, certainly with the initiative that's taken up by FICCI in this matter, we have to really look at the sectoral opportunities. Sector-wise analysis, subsector-wise analysis would definitely be the answer. I will give you another illustration about it. In New Delhi, we had an interesting meeting with the Honorable Minister for Industries, Tamil Nadu, Dr. T.R.B. Raja. So my minister, Mr. P. Rajiv, and TRB Raja were having an interesting discussion. This was the gist of the discussion. Tamil Nadu can produce huge cars and vehicles with 4,000 acres and 5,000 acres given in Sri Perumbudur and Kanchipuram and all those places. But the technology that's required for it, especially the automotive energy, can certainly come in from 15 or 16 companies who have been silently doing the work in Technopark in Trivandrum and some companies in Infopark. How many of us know about it? This is the kind of linkage that can come up as a result of the cooperative federalism that has really come about as a result of the healthy competition between different states across the country. That's why we say that when Google suddenly decides to have a huge data center in Visakhapatnam, our dear brothers in Tamil Nadu would state that after all their CEO comes from this state and you should have been really loyal to Tamil Nadu. But then we in Kerala would also take solace from the fact that data center consumes a great deal of electricity, which we may not perhaps be able to provide. We will require some deal of a different system of IT, which would suit this state, which would be a bit more employment intensive, and which would not take too much of space as well, leave alone the case of this electricity. So these are things which we need to focus on. Country after country across the globe, province after province in these countries. I was so fascinated to see that the provinces in Germany have been promoting their industrial and their commercial opportunities as if they were independent nations. Bavaria comes on its own. Northern Rhine-Westphalia, NRW comes on its own, and they have been meeting us. So I was bemused altogether. I used to ask them, aren't you part of the Republic of Germany? They said, of course we are. But at the same time, the independence and the freedom that's provided in the federal structure for continuing with our paths in terms of progress in trade and commerce would not be stymied or stifled by any kind of diktat for the central government. This is slowly becoming the kind of situation that exists in India also. We can all certainly compete with each other and also collaborate with each other, as was witnessed between Kerala and Tamil Nadu as well, when we intend to look in for greater deal of collaboration as well. Today, the sectoral discussion and also the kind of pitfalls, the kind of inadequacies that which we have need to be studied so that those loopholes are addressed when we deal with various institutions and organizations in the United Kingdom. Along with it, the trade remedies and the kind of awareness about it certainly needs to be taken into consideration as well. Look at what's happening across Southeast Asia and China. Those were the times when Indian businessmen and Kerala businessmen, for instance, used to find it extremely difficult or extremely rather trembling with a little deal of fear also about how do we step into Vietnam, how do we step into Malaysia, how do we step into China. But today, look at it. How many of our institutions and how many of our friends have already established offices in Chengdu and Shenzhen and Shanghai for that matter? That kind of confidence that's been created, a greater deal of understanding of the rules and procedures in that country vis-a-vis us, and also the positive impact and the kind of favorables that have been created as a result of the signing of one of the finest piece of legislation, kind of agreement between two independent countries, CETA, has to be studied in detail. I really wish that with the kind of marine products that we have over here, 70% of the EU certified units in the country are very much in Kerala, as everybody knows. Apart from that, in medtech sector, for instance, we have never spoken about the medtech sector. We have never realized the potential of the medtech sector. Suddenly, lo and presto, I should say, it comes about to our awareness that 24% of the total turnover of the medtech companies in India come from medtech companies in Kerala. The largest manufacturer of blood bags is here. The largest manufacturer of artificial teeth in Asia is here. And the largest, the company that conducted the largest number of COVID-related tests is here. So the kind of medtech focus that is being brought about as a result of the expansion of the Bioscience Park, Bio 360, near to Trivandrum and elsewhere, speaks volumes about the strength of the intrinsic strength about the talent pool that we have over here. So with this talent, greater deal of focus on the reduction in terms of the cost of production and also the quality and the uniqueness of the product that can be brought about, I think we should be able to capture the world, not just the United Kingdom. I wish all that is well for all the entrepreneurs over here, all those government officers and the private people, officers of the private sector who have assembled here upon the invitation of the FICCI, and also my most learned colleagues over here in the stage. I wish all of them well, and I hope that this is just the beginning of the story, beginning of a glorious story. Let's strive to see to it that ultimately there is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you, Sri A.P. Mohammed Anish, IAS Principal Secretary, Industries and Government of Kerala, for the keynote address. We'll be having a detailed discussion on the sector specific also. As you're aware, Kerala is always takes steps very fast, anticipating the CETA agreement. In fact, the Honorable Chief Minister and Industry, Principal Secretary Industry and the senior officials had visited UK a couple of years ago anticipating this agreement, and they already had various discussions. Discussions will take place also again to normalize and to take ahead the CETA agreement also. Thank you, sir. Now we have a brief video from Mr. Richard Hurd, Chair UK India Business Council, for 5 minutes. He'll be also explaining about the UK-India trade relation, how the CETA agreement can be taken forward. Over to Mr. Richard Hurd.
It's a great pleasure to be able to speak to you today and to support the Ministry of Commerce and Industry and also FICCI in promoting this actually game-changing comprehensive economic trade agreement. It really is a remarkable document that has been worked on by both the Indian government and the UK government. And to come to such a comprehensive agreement in such a short period of time is really quite remarkable. The UK India Business Council, and I'm chairman of that organisation, has been very much involved in supporting both governments and feeding in the business views on various aspects of the agreement, such that business views have been taken into account in the negotiation of this excellent agreement. And we're now in a process of ratification. The UK government has to go through that process, and we will hopefully ratify the document in the next months, possibly 6 months or so. But that gives us a time to prepare. It gives us a time to focus on what the opportunities are, to understand and look at the 2,000 pages of this trade agreement and distill it into reality, into what does it mean for your companies? How can you benefit? Where do you fit in the trade flows that are going to be there? Yes, we have focused on reduction in tariffs, and the reduction in tariffs is remarkable in terms of the percentages. Almost 90% of tariffs are going to go to zero, both in terms of Indian companies going to the UK and UK companies coming to India. That is one part. The other part, which is more as exciting, is focusing on ease of doing business and the operational facilitation of doing business in each other's countries. That is an absolute fundamental point. How I regard this trade agreement and why I'm really excited by it is not just because I really do value UK trade with India and India trade with the UK, but also because it's future fit. It isn't just looking at a snapshot in time. It is looking at those industries that we are working in now, but also those industries that we anticipate we will be developing, and even those industries that we don't yet know we're going to be developing. So this document is going to be a live document that will evolve over time. Coming back to what organizations like UKIBC and FICCI are doing is telling people, going out and telling people what those opportunities are and explaining the 2,000 pages in language which is understandable. We are working with MOCI. We are working on with the DGFT in relation to a market access template. We are working with them and we'll be producing documentation, digital documentation in a few months' time, which will lay out the details in an understandable and digestible form. That is fundamental. At this moment in time as well, UK IBC has an app on its website, which is market readiness, which allows companies themselves to measure the market readiness that they are in at this moment in time in terms of entering UK. And I have to say, we have had over 1,000 people, companies, accessing that website over the past month or two, and 80% of those companies, 80% of those 1,000 companies are Indian. And they are saying, I want to plug into the economic growth and the opportunities in the UK. At the same time, we have UK companies who are looking at India saying, I want to plug in. But there is work to be done, because we have to understand the operating environment. And we're working with FICCI, we're working with trade organizations in India and in the UK to make sure those messages come across. It is a tremendously exciting time to be in the UK-India corridor. Just last month, my Prime Minister Keir Starmer, came to India, met with Prime Minister Modi, and they discussed the way forward on this. I have never seen a better interaction between the two prime ministers and the two governments. Both governments are absolutely committed to make this work. It is not only going to be important for our economic success going forward and for India's achievement of Viksit Bharat in 2047, but it is also tremendously important in terms of the social and economic evolution of our people. So I firmly support what Moki is doing in this series, and also firmly support what FICCI is doing. And it's a great pleasure to be able to talk to you and to assure you of our support, UK IBC's support in this venture. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Richard Hurd, Chair, UK India Business Council, for addressing the participants. Now I would request Mr. Gurgaran Singh Bains, IRS Commissioner of Customs, Customers Question, to address the participant. Sir has been always supportive in FICCI and various initiatives and activities. Over to you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. First of all, I'd like to thank Shri Savio Matthew, Head FICCI, Cochin, Kerala, for inviting me here and giving me this chance to speak with you. I also like to thank Shri Alex K. Nainan, my dear friend, the Chair of Export Cell of FICCI, Kerala, who is also the Vice Chairman of MPEDA, a very successful exporter in marine products himself, as well as in the administration of hospitals. He is the right man to be here among you in this wonderful initiative of this workshop on leveraging the India-UK Comprehensive Economic Trade Agreement, which has been recently signed. And wow, what an agreement it has been, is all I can say, because since, although it has not come into force as on date, having been signed in the presence of the head of both governments in July this year, and it is being put through ratification of both countries' parliament, and it is yet to come into force. So as we speak, the nitty-gritties of what is going to happen is yet to be out in public, but this agreement gives out the basic contours of how things are going to be. And actually, it is an agreement which is out of the ordinary. It is actually a very comprehensive agreement, as Dr. James Nedumpara was mentioning, that it has chapters on corruption, it has chapters on inclusive growth of women, other sectors, minorities, differently abled persons. It takes the whole ambit in its growth. MSMEs, that's the actual topic of today. And I hope that all MSCs, who are all of you here, industries, trades, service professionals, it is my strong belief that what you see in the world, what you perceive, is all related to your thoughts. Our environment has everything all around us. All positivity is here, all opportunities are right here, as well as pitfalls are here. Negativities are also here in the environment. What you see actually is depending on what you are oriented towards. And that is how our coming together at this moment, at this great moment of opportunity, is very important to understand that what are the opportunities in the environment which are opening up very shortly. It is said that very early in 2026, this agreement is going to come into force, and the kind of opportunities it is opening up. Wow, 99% of all the market of UK is going to be open to all business of India. And as well as in a quid pro quo basis, 91% of our Indian market we are opening to UK. So India has already taken great strides. We are among the handful of countries right at the top of the world when we talk about economies, our GDPs. Our imports, exports are also growing very fast. And we have people like our keynote speaker today, Mr. APM Mohammad Hanish, IAS, Principal Secretary, Industries, Government of Kerala. I have had a chance to see sir in action. Sometimes when we met at a RBI meet, when there was talk about taking rupee to a stature of an international currency, and he's always very, very well read, very flamboyant, and interacting here with trade. I'll mention about a gentleman later in my speech, but he also mentioned off the cuff about the Principal Secretary, Shri Hanish, how on the spur of the moment he has the ability to solve problems once they are taken, a few phone calls here and there, and you know the problem of the industry is solved. So with these bureaucrats and with the kind of trade, forward-looking trade that Kerala has, the potential especially in marine sector, especially in coir, tea, coffee, med tech, which the keynote speaker had just mentioned, is which again a very big sector and very strong point of Kerala, which this agreement, this developed country which is opening its doors wide to us, we have a potential to capitalize it. Actually, the trade, it is expected to grow by multi-billion dollars in the very short span of 1 to 2 years once this agreement comes into force. As far as customs is concerned, I see in this workshop there are sessions which are aimed at strengthening state readiness and the infrastructure policy sector opportunities which are there already, whether the country is ready to roll out this huge CETA agreement. As far as customs is concerned, I'm very happy to say that India already has most of the basic concepts which this agreement mentions in its chapter on customs facilitation. A, the transparency and facilitation which the agreement talks about speaks that all data should be there in our websites in English language, which should be accessible to all. Both countries will display on their websites all the information related to customs, which we already have and which we keep working on from time to time. Automation, which is digitization, data use, the risk management system, everything is touched upon in this agreement, which India is already using to clear its goods in the country. As we speak, more than about 90% of cargo is automatically through risk management system cleared without any kind of interference from customs. And this agreement also mentions the risk management system as being one system which should be in place. Single window is again a concept mentioned which we have already entered since about 2016, and the system is being evolved and made more efficient day by day. Timely release of goods, the agreement speaks about a 48-hour limits for goods to be cleared once they land in a country, and for special treatment of goods which are perishable in nature. So Kerala has a lot of seafood and exports from Kerala. Other perishable products are also being dealt. And this agreement speaks of storing these goods, perishable goods, at the choice of the importer to prevent their going bad. Deferred payment of duty, even after clearance, there's duties being deferred. That is one point. And advance rulings from customs, because before you start and enter into any trade, there are so many questions which are in your mind. What would be the customs law applicable? How much duty would be leviable? Is there any? So you can ask any question to the advance ruling authority of customs, which is already in place, and that authority is in a time-bound manner supposed to respond to you, so that when you enter into trade, you take the dive, you already know the government position on really important matters which touch your trade. AEO program is again a thing which is mentioned in the agreement, which is the authorized economic operator. I take this opportunity to exhort all of you MSMEs who are present here to make use of this AEO program. It is basically a program in which both countries share lists with each other, that these are the people, the trade of your country that we trust. India shares this list with UK, and UK shares its list with India. So those people are called AEOs, and they are given preferential treatment for faster clearances, lesser interdiction of goods, lesser checks. So let us make our list the longest possible. There are certain criteria. It's not very, everything is there on the government CBIC website. You can go and read this program. Kindly go back to your offices, read those conditions, and every one of you try to make use of this benefit of AEO program. It is going to be very, very beneficial to each one of you in the long run. The penalties have also been touched upon in the agreement, that there should be only commensurate to the offense, and they should not be excessive. And when there is self-disclosure, there should be no penalties at all, which is very fair. Customs Cooperation Mutual Assistance Agreement, in which customs administrations are supposed to share data and share specific queries, ask each other specific queries. So this agreement has already been signed between India and UK in 2021. This also finds mention in this agreement to be more deepened so that it can work even more freely. Post-clearance audit, customs trade facilitation working groups have been formed, which are supposed to meet within 6 months of the agreement coming into force, and then every year in a yearly fashion. So these are the basic things which have been related to customs, which have been touched in the agreement. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm very happy to tell you that our country, as far as customs is concerned, is geared up and already ready to take this challenge and as well as this opportunity hands-on. So before I wrap up, I'd like to again touch upon a very interesting thing, which recently I came across a very acclaimed gentleman from Kerala, a very renowned industrialist who is into many sectors in Kerala. And he was telling me about how his ancestral house, where he stayed for about 20 years, is now housing about 160 specially abled children. And it really touched me when he told me that how, a sparkle comes in the eyes of those children when he takes them for a boat ride. or when they go for an outing. What really touched me was, despite being the head, the managing director of a very large, successful industrial group in the city, the gentleman took personal interest in such children, and he was not only the chairman of that institute, he took personal interest and spent his personal time among them. So basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that since this agreement is not only economic, it doesn't only try to capture the big industries who already have the wherewithal to read weighty texts. It actually specifically mentions that the benefits of this agreement should flow to all sectors of the country. And they say in Mahabharata, when the war was about to begin, the Kauravas and Pandavas both approached Lord Krishna to seek his support in their favor. They say both Duryodhana and Arjun traveled to Dwarka, and when they reached the chamber of Lord Krishna was asleep. He was taking a nap. So Duryodhana, it is said, he walked in and sat at the head of the bed, waiting for him to wake up. He was followed by Arjuna, who then came and sat at the foot of his bed. After some time, when he opened his eyes, Lord Krishna looked at Arjuna and said, "What have you come to seek?" Duryodhana immediately felt very agitated. He protested, saying that I have come first. So you are supposed to ask me that what have I come for? But Lord Krishna said, you may have come first, but I saw Arjuna first. So I will ask him. So the question he posed was that you want me to fight for you, or you want my whole army to fight for you? Now the army of Lord Krishna was fabled and famed, thousands of chariots and elephants and spearmen and foot soldiers. It was called the Narayani army, considered to be unbeatable. So Arjuna, without even blinking his eye, said that I want you, Lord Krishna, on our side. Duryodhana in words were smiling and very happy, thinking that, he has got the support of the army, even being asked second, but he has chosen the army. So our scriptures, what happened later, everyone knows. The Kauravas, all of them got killed in the battle of Mahabharata, while the Pandavas were victorious. What our scriptures are trying to tell us is that what you are is more important than what you have. And humility and humbleness is always greater than pride and arrogance. So why I am trying to tell you all this is that we have gentlemen, really successful businessmen right here in this great state of Kerala, who despite having everything are spending personally their time among the less fortunate sections of society. And this agreement, this is the soul of this agreement. That is why it is actually comprehensive. It is not only a drab financial agreement, only looking at financial growth. It is looking at social growth. It is looking at overall development of everyone. So with such people, with such bureaucrats as the keynote speaker today, who are hands-on problem solvers, and the great industry of Kerala, MSMEs who are here, I hope that all of us will come together with a positive, approach and try to take this opportunity to grow and take our country to great heights. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sri Gurugan Singh, Bains, IRS Commissioner of Custom House, Cochin, for addressing the participant and also assuring the support of Custom House for implementation of the agreement once it's effected. I will now request Mr. Sridhar, I would request Hussain Said, ITS Deputy Director General for Kochi, to address the participants.
Respected Sri Muhammad Hanish sir, Gurkaran Singh sir, Alex sir, Savio, good morning everyone. Before I coming to DGFT Cochin office, I was working in RI Chennai office before. So when I came to DGFT Kochi, I just had a simple analysis of what kind of export were happening in Chennai, in Tamil Nadu, and what is happening in Kerala. And it surprised me to see that both the value and quantity wise, Chennai and Tamil Nadu overtook Kerala by miles. The kind of exports, the technological items, the machineries, everything, from hands down, Kerala was defeated by Tamil Nadu. And even today, we don't rank anywhere in the top 10 for the best exporters from India. But the situation has changed in the last few years. We can see both government of Kerala and government of India being very active, being very proactive in promoting exports from Kerala and India. I was fortunate to participate in some of the Kerala government programs. For example, they recently had this Nanma branding program, where they brand each items so that it will have a Kerala brand itself, so that it can get better visibility in the foreign or domestic markets. There was also programs like Taluk level export promotion programs where DGFT was part of it, and we actively participated in all the programs of Kerala government, and we took sessions for the exporters. In the last analysis that I made, what I found in the last 2 to 3 years, the exports from Kerala has doubled. It was $4 billion in 2022, and today it stands above $8 billion. And this jump is around 100%, as you can see that. And it happened in the state of Kerala. And not just that, last 2 years, 2024, we had the best performance in ease of doing business in the BRAP. And this year, we got the award of the Fast Movers Achiever Award, and the #1 spot was achieved by Kerala. So this is very encouraging for us. And from the side of government of India, there are so many schemes to promote exports from India. You can see, if you know, the Advanced Authorization Scheme, the EPCG scheme, the ROTEP scheme, Drawback scheme, DFIA scheme. All these schemes are there to benefit the exporters and to bring new entrepreneurs and exporters to the export business. Beyond this, I just want to apprise you regarding some of the initiatives that happened very recently. If you've been following newspapers, yesterday Government of India approved the scheme called Export Promotion, the EPM scheme, Export Mission, Promotion Mission scheme from Government of India, and it is around 2,500 crores worth of program. Per year, government is going to provide the interest subsidy for the MSMEs. Along with that, the market access initiatives, and all the kind of technological support, technical supports, and branding scheme. Everything is being included in a single program called Export Promotion Mission. This EPM scheme was announced by the Government of India, Honorable Prime Minister, during the budget speech. After that, yesterday it was approved. And the DGFT will be the implementation agency for this, and I request all of you to go through the scheme's technicalities and come to us for these benefits. Beyond this, recently Government of India has brought a new program called Ayat Niryat Labu Setu scheme. Ayat Niryat Labu Setu scheme. This is to have a single window place where all the exporters, all the MSMEs can know about the labs and the technical supports to get in a single window. And I request all of you to come to DGFT again to know about more the schemes. The scheme name called Ayat Niryat Labu Setu. I just mentioned this because we had this existing system for you to get incentives through your exports. But beyond this, Government of India has been actively promoting foreign trade agreements, free trade agreements recently. As our speakers mentioned, we had CETA agreement with UAE, we had ECTA agreement with Australia, and now we have CETA agreement with the UK. So why this UK agreement is special, and why this program is connected today? The most important discussion, the most important point is that this is our first FTA with a developed country. All our previous FTAs were with the developing or underdeveloped nations, but this is our first FTA with a developed nation. And this is a testament for us, because we want to have more FTAs with USA, European Union and all, but how this being worked out with the UK will help us to understand the future of our future negotiations with other developed countries. So if you know, recently the speakers mentioned, the last few months has been turbulent for the export business. Tariff war by Trump, it has largely crippled our exports to USA market. And this is where government of India want to bring new free trade agreements and open up new markets for the exporters from India. I'll just give you a small example how UK FTA will help you. The total market size of UK's textile market is $30 billion. The total size of UK's textile market is $30 billion. And the total export of India to the whole our globe is $30 billion. India's total export textile is $30 billion. The total market size of UK is $30 billion. And today, we are exporting to UK only $1.7 billion. Through this FTA, we have zero duty access to UK market. That means we can export our entire $30 billion to UK market, still it can absorb that. So if you face an issue in USA market, we have an option open in UK. So this is the part of government. This is the part of the government duty to open up markets for you. But this is the duty of you, the entrepreneurs and the businessmen, to use this opportunity for furthering your interest and the nation's interest. And just in concluding my remarks here, and thanking once again for Vicky for inviting me for this program, and thank you everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Hussein Usad, and Deputy Director General Foreign Trade, for addressing the participants and also explain about the DGFT side how this agreement can be effected. With this, we have come to the end of the inaugural session, and we'll have a detailed discussion on the agreement by Dr. James Nedubara, followed by Ms. Vishishta Malhotra from Associate CTL also. I would request all the participants to kindly remain seated without much of time. We have already delayed by half an hour, but we will continue the session. I would request Dr. James Nedubara to take over the session.
So thank you very much. We are now going to discuss some of the salient features of the agreement. Since the last session took a bit more time, we will try to be extremely concise. And I will be joined by my Mr. Vishisht Malhotra as well. So when we think about this agreement, and let me just put it in perspective. This agreement was negotiated over a period of 3 years. So it was started in 2022, in 2022 March. In between, there was elections in India in 2024, and there was election in the UK as well. So despite the elections and other kind of a stalling, the entire negotiations were completed in less than 3 years' time. When we think about any trade agreement, the most important element is the market access concession. So when we think about the market access concession, what we actually refer to is a tariff reduction. So in the case of UK, I should tell you very clearly that UK is an advanced country with fairly low level of industrial tariffs. So what they have done is to reduce tariffs on 99% of the tariff lines. Here again you have to remember two things. This agreement has just been signed, it hasn't entered into force. And as the chairman of the UK India Business Council mentioned, the ratification process has to be undertaken. Within the UK, there is also one more step. So there are certain kind of consultative committee. For instance, there is a Trade and Agriculture Committee. So these kind of routine consultations and reports are made to the Parliament, and they will take into consideration all these elements when ratifying the agreement. In the case of India, we have taken roughly 90% commitments, tariff liberalization or reduction on 90% of the tariff lines. This is again a remarkable thing when we compare our position with respect to the previous agreements. We signed an FTA with Australia where our commitments were around 70% on tariff lines. That means nearly 30% of the tariff lines were kept outside the coverage of the agreement. So, to put it in perspective, when an agreement enters into force, we actually refer to the term EIF, entry into force. Bulk of the tariffs will actually be gone. So, a large number of tariff lines will be having zero tariff on day one. Then there is something called a staggering. So that is actually the phased reduction or elimination thing. Then every country has got freedom to keep certain lines excluded from the coverage of the agreement. So what India has done, nearly on 67% of the tariff lines, the duties may become zero on the date of entry. On the remaining 23%, the tariffs will be phased out over a period of time. On the remaining 10%, which are actually called as the sensitive lines, the tariffs will not reduce at all. In a way, they are outside the purview. The other important point is, this agreement has a very comprehensive provision on services. So there is actually a chapter on trade in services, which basically deals with 12 sectors and 162 subsectors. So one important sector so far as Kerala is concerned is actually the business services, professional services, engineering services, medical services, insurance services, architecture services. All these categories will come within the professional services. So there again, I think we have got specific commitments undertaken by both the parties. Then there are two sectoral annexes to the agreement. One is the annex on telecommunication and the other on basic financial services. One important category that India has been consistently seeking in a free trade agreement is basically mobility. So mobility not with a view to settle down in a country permanently, but people, service providers from a country, independent contract providers, professionals can move into the country on a short-term basis and provide the services for a definite period of time. So when we really look at this agreement, we have got a specific chapter on movement of natural persons. The objective is to make sure that when it comes to visa applications, they will get a longer period of time. So business visitors, intra-corporate transferees, managers, and independent professionals will come under the MONP chapter. So the MONP will basically deal with both the entry and presence of these people in a foreign country. So when it comes to actually, when we think about this agreement, I should mention that we have got around 1,800, you can say a numerical quota for chefs and musicians. The point is that most of the countries are very sensitive to Mode 4 or movement of natural persons. And in the context of India, one sector that is very important is actually the health service in the UK. But the UK has actually taken two carve-outs from this agreement. One is basically the Windsor framework. And some of you sitting in the room know that there is actually a protocol between Northern Ireland and the UK. And now it was actually called the Northern Ireland Protocol earlier, now it is called the Windsor framework. So that has been basically excluded from the agreement. And secondly, the National Health Service has been carved out. Another additional feature is that India and UK they have not actually done, but there is a provision in the agreement which provides for the conclusion of a social security agreement between India and the UK. So assuming that Indian professionals go and work in the UK for a period less than 3 years, they may not be required to pay the social security taxes in the UK. So the UK government has been collecting a huge amount of social security taxes for professionals and other contract service suppliers coming from India, and this money was never returned even when those people actually came back to India. So this is not part of the free trade agreement, but there is a provision for doing so. Another important point is actually the rules of origin. I will basically touch upon. So rules of origin is very important in a trade agreement. So we know that in the context of alcohol, the UK has got a very big industry, a very strong industry in alcohol, especially in whiskey and certain categories of wine and spirits. The point is that, when we really provide market access, better preferential market access to a product coming from another country, that product should belong to the country. So generally speaking, there are two requirements. One is actually the substantial transformation or value addition. So these are the two requirements. Generally speaking, we do not have product-specific rules of origin. So what has happened in the case is that we have got a set of co-equal rules. Either the substantial transformation test is there, or we have got the value addition. And this is basically inserted to make sure that there is no circumvention. And some of you sitting in the room may know that, there was an allegation long time ago that the Vietnamese pepper came to India via the India-Sri Lanka Free Trade Agreement. So to make sure that only the deserving products, which are actually the products of the other trading party, actually enjoys the benefit under the agreement, both the countries have negotiated very specific rules of origin. The other element is actually SPS and TBT, and my colleague Vishish will take you through that. A very important item, given the fact that sanitary and phytosanitary restrictions are very common in trade. And I should also mention one particular point. After this agreement was signed, there was actually a study by the UK Trade and Agriculture Commission. And one particular point which the UK farmers had actually raised in their meetings with the Trade Commissioner is that there is a likelihood that some of the prohibited or banned pesticides may be used for the production of certain agricultural items. And their concern is that if certain pesticides or other chemical substances are actually banned in the UK, then they will have to make sure that in India also these products are not actually used. So this is one area where I think substantial amount of discussion will have to happen. Otherwise, these kind of non-technical barriers to trade can completely wipe out the benefit which we may receive from the agreement. The next element is actually government procurement. So even in the context of India, the government procurement is a huge market. It is actually 22% of the economy. It's a huge. So any kind of a purchase made by government entities like the railways, the public sector undertakings, both at the central and the state level, are actually, it's a niche category, and trade agreements generally exclude government procurement. So India hasn't really, provided any market access concession to any country under a government procurement agreement. When India signed the 2022 India-UAE trade agreement, there is actually a government procurement chapter, but in effect, we haven't given any market concession at all. So one important point is that under this particular agreement, the UK enterprises, entities will actually get certain kind of an access in the Indian market, and the Indian entities will actually get access in the UK market as well. So when we think about government procurement, it is not purely the procurement of goods, even IT services provided by an Indian firm to a UK public authority will fall within the definition of a government procurement. So again, there's actually a schedule of government procurement under this particular agreement, and that is important to consider. The one concession that India has actually given, so most of you know that in India we have got the Make in India order and the MSME order. So, and if you are actually a class 1 supplier, there are certain privileges attached to it. The one concession which India gave to the UK is that the UK service suppliers or entities will be treated as a class 2 supplier. That means at least 20% of the value addition made in the UK will be deemed to be value added within the country. So that is actually a concession that was given under the UK. Then the next important point is environment and labor. So this is again, I think, one point which is extremely sensitive and crucial. One clarification I want to make at this point: the first agreement that India signed with the developed country is actually the EFTA, the European Free Trade Agreement Association, that actually includes Switzerland, Norway, Liechtenstein, and Iceland. That agreement came into force on the 1st of October this year. And this is the second agreement. In these agreements, there is actually a strong push on some of the non-trade concerns. And this is actually a point which we always, see in trade negotiations with the Western countries. They said that we are not purely concerned about trade. We actually believe in how it is made, how the trade is happening, how a product is actually made, under what conditions the product is made. So that is why most of the countries, especially in the case UK and India, have agreed on certain provisions to provide protection for environment labor standards. So when we think about environment and labor standards, there are a large number of multilateral environment agreements, MEAs, and in the field of labor, there are a number of international labor conventions, core conventions. There are 10 of them actually, which are basically negotiated at the level of the International Labor Organization. And India, as a sovereign country, has implemented these agreements domestically. Just to give an example, the Minimum Wages Act, or the Equal Remuneration Act, or the Trade Unions Act, these are actually the domestic legislation which are enforcing some of the international commitments. So one of the obligations that India has undertaken in this particular agreement is to effectively implement the domestic law, which basically incorporates the international agreements. And the second point is that the labor law, so think about a situation where the government actually wants to give a special concession, or maybe the government doesn't enforce the law with respect to deforestation, then that can actually be a bit problematic. So but the point is that there is no dispute settlement provision in this environment labor chapters or the anti-corruption chapters. They are all non-binding in the sense that there are obligations actually, but if India or the UK fails to perform these obligations, there is no way the other country can take them to a dispute settlement and enforce their rights. In addition to that, there are some good regulatory practices as well. So that is what I said. Good regulatory practice basically means businesses will always be impacted by regulations. So generally, sometimes what happens is that a regulation may be brought into force without a due process, without sufficient consultation between the stakeholders. So now there is an obligation to actually sometimes pre-publish the regulation, have sufficient consultations for opportunity and comment, and to ensure that the stakeholders have a say in the regulatory process, in the regulation making process. In addition to that, there are some chapters like subsidies. Of course, it is not actually limiting the ability of a country to provide subsidies. It is basically reinforcing the WTO subsidies agreement. There is a chapter on state-owned enterprises, not at the state level, but at the central level. And let me again make this point very clear to you. Even the environment and labor regulations are not actually at the state level. There's a state level carve out. These are obligations taken only at the central level, at the federal government level. And there's a chapter on innovation and there's a dispute settlement. So these are some of the key elements of this agreement. I don't want to actually touch upon all these issues, but one point I would like to mention. In what manner we have actually taken care of the sensitivities of the sectors. So one important concern, I mean, of course, we know that in India also there is actually now a fledgling, you can say, wine and spirit industry or alcoholic beverages industry. We have our own local brands like Amrut and Rampur and other products. So while the UK is actually one of the leading exporters of these products concerned, we have actually provided a phased liberalization. It is not a phased reduction. So in the case of wine and spirit, our current duties are as high as 150%. So these duties will actually be lowered over a 10-year period. And the important point is that we are actually providing a TRQ, a tariff rate quota. So that means X quantity of the product can come into the country at a lower rate of duty, and anything beyond that quantity will actually attract the MFN rate of duty, which is the normal rate of duty. And the same thing is also applicable with respect to some of the automobile products. So we know that India has got an export interest in small automobile products, and the UK has export interest in big automobiles. And what we are actually doing at the moment is through a TRQ mechanism. Another important point is that it is not a duty elimination, it is actually a duty reduction. So that is quite an important point. And when it comes to sensitivity, I should mention that most of the sensitive agriculture products are actually carved out. So to give an example, dairy products, apples, oats, edible oils, cereals, like rice and wheat and other items, they are basically outside the purview of tariff reduction. The TRQ is actually in relation to two categories, one with respect to alcoholic beverages product, and the second with respect to internal combustion engines and electric vehicles. So electric vehicle is again a new area. We are having an industry that is upcoming. So India wanted to preserve the new industry, the strengths of the new industry. So it is not a complete opening up. It is actually kind of a partial opening up only. When it comes to the products of export interest, I think there are so many products of export interest. I may not know most of the products, but one important item is actually shrimp. And in relation to market access concession, the duties are actually in the region of 4.2 to 8.5%. They will come down. And another product where Kerala has an interest is pharmaceutical products, basically medicines and medical devices. So those duties will also reduce to zero over a period of time. So in essence, what I'm saying is that this is a very, very comprehensive agreement. I'm going to skip all these kind of things. So in relation to rules of origin, I think one important point is that, so whenever you actually want to get the benefit of the preferential agreement, so this is actually a preferential agreement, the country of origin or the rule of origin certificate will have to be attested by or verified by an authority. So in this case, there is actually a provision for self-certification. That is one important change. The UK has also, this is again part of the ease of doing business. The second is actually a waiver on requirement or submission of origin documentation for consignments less than £1,000. So some of you know that this is actually a de minimis provision. Even in the United States, there is a de minimis provision of $800, which I think is not operational for the time being. So these are some of the provisions in the agreement. I will skip all these. So my colleague will talk about, the SPS matter. On the services, again, I want to actually mention that one important element is, they actually call the ENT, the Economic Needs Test. So think about a situation where a service provider or a professional from India would like to go and work in the UK. They would give the work permit or the authorization only if the ENT is actually conducted. ENT basically means only if there is a shortage of professionals with a commensurate quality and skill is actually lacking in the UK will they give a permission. But one important element of this agreement is that the ENT or the labor market requirement is basically phased out. And the other important point is that, mutual recognition. So when it comes to our nurses or other categories of professionals, sometimes our qualification that is earned in India will have to be recognized by the other body in the foreign country. So this agreement actually provides for a window period of 12 months. So 12 months basically means after entry into force of the agreement within a 12-month period, you have to identify the professional services for negotiating mutual recognition agreements. This is again a recognition of qualifications and skills, will be very good for a knowledge-based economy like Kerala. So I mentioned about the other services like digital services. That is again a new chapter. We have preserved all our sensitivities. For example, cross-border flow of data, consumer protection requirements are all protected under the agreement. So we have protected our sensitivity. Government procurement I already mentioned, environment I mentioned, labor I mentioned. I don't think that I have anything more to mention in such a short time. And my colleague, who is actually an SPS and TBT expert, will take you through some of the other provisions. Thank you.
So, thank you so much for your interest and time in trade issues. I hope this helps us all take India to greater heights. Yeah. Thank you. So, Professor James has comprehensively explained the entire FTA. I'm just going to zoom into two elements, which are trade barriers, technical barriers to trade, and sanitary and phytosanitary measures. Now these two, as he had also mentioned, that are two very important chapters which ensure that the tariff liberalization which we have received is not taken away indirectly. So before we zoom into these two particular gains which we have got from India-UK CETA, it would be important to understand what SPS and TBT actually mean. I believe this would be a new topic for quite a few of us. So, non-tariff measures were actually on the rise before the recent Trump era. These days we only hear about tariffs, but it was the non-tariff measures which were taking greater heights in rise in number. And the key non-tariff barriers which we are discussing today is the TBT and SPS. Now, this is a snapshot picture of what TBT and SPS measures look like. The TBT measures cover entire industrial goods, agriculture products. The SPS measures are focused on agriculture products. SPS measures are focused on food safety, human health, animal and plant life, as well as TBT measures are also going beyond in these areas, as well as to environmental measures. They are also for prevention of deceptive practices. These are regulations which are made to prevent so that substandard products do not enter the market and quality products enter the market. So just a brief introduction into what TBT deals with. TBT deals with three important key components. First are technical regulations. These regulations are mandatory in nature. The standards are voluntary in nature, and third are conformity assessment. They are to determine whether the mandatory and or the voluntary have been met for a particular product or not. Just a deeper dive into this is the principle of no less favorable. This refers to two cardinal principles of trade, which is national treatment and MFN. So national treatment principle refers that the product which enters the Indian territory will be given the same preference in accordance with the domestic, and the foreign product will be given the same preference. And similarly, the Indian product which enters the UK market will be given the same preference as given to a UK domestic product and given to an Indian product entering UK market. The second principle is the MFN principle. So if there is any product entering the UK market from India, it will be given same level of parity as with any other country's product entering. However, FTA, entering into FTA is an exception to the MFN, and Indian products will be given preference over other countries as well with respect to this particular FTA which we have entered into with UK. Now the second aspect is the technical regulations. Regulations which are made into place. Just to take an example, let's say there is a labeling mandatory requirement. Like we have a lot of labeling requirements in our country. Let's say for, if a veg, non-veg product is a special criteria followed in India with respect to green labels for veg products and red for non-veg. Now, if for a hypothetical example, if these are made mandatory, they are technical regulations. However, if they are made voluntary, then they become standards. And that is what the TBT measures deal with. Further is the conformity assessment. Conformity assessment is a procedure which is used to directly or indirectly confirm whether the technical regulation has been complied with or the standards have been complied with. How do you confirm whether your product complies with it or not? It is through conformity assessment procedure. There is a fourth element in TBT which is called accreditation. How do you determine whether the body which is carrying out the conformity assessment procedure is competent to carry it? That is done through accreditation process. And these are terms we may have heard on past buyers, but these are actually come into effect in market, and they have a special, they have an impact and bearing on the products which enter a market. Now, this is a snapshot of all the provisions which are there in the UK CETA TBT chapter. Now, these are institutional mechanisms. They deal with international trade. They deal with technical regulation, conformity assessment, marking, labeling, transparency. So as an overarching picture, what I can share with you is that in all these given areas, pathways have been created where India and UK will be able to enhance their trade significantly. Just to share some key insights is that now what could be the gains for India from this is that looking at the TBT chapter, the main objective would be here is that to reduce unnecessary regulations and only limit ourselves to the necessary legitimate regulations. Secondly, as the Principal Secretary was also mentioning that how Kerala has significantly increased women entrepreneurship and their and the related products and services in that respect. So here's an interesting piece in the TBT chapter which is done in India for the first time, is that standard and standard development process will be gender responsive according to the relevant UN convention. The second point is that the regulations, let's say there are two regulations, one is from UK, the other is from India, and both are dealing with separate issue. Let's say for hypothetically the UK regulation deals with mandatory standards, whereas our regulation deals with mandatory labeling. But how do we bring them together? So there is a principle of equivalence which has been captured in this chapter in India UK CETA, where it provides us with the opportunity that the both parties can come together and create and discuss and understanding that both the regulations are fulfilling a specific similar objective. Because the objective of both the regulations is similar, they will be treated as equivalent. And this, what does this do to you? What does this do for you? Is that it reduces your cost of testing, it reduces your time of verifying your products according to UK standards, and it significantly improves our export potential. Second is the conformity assessment, which is a major role in the TBT. It also gives provisions for mutual recognition and also provides the option for supplier declaration of conformity, where the supplier can themselves declare on their own standards that they have met these standards, they meet the technical regulations, their products are sufficiently able to be exported and to be placed on the UK market. The other points which are there in TBT is chapter is that there is a early notification criteria. So whenever a regulation is going to come into the UK, a draft measure, that is a proposed measure, will be notified to India, and all of you, the entire industry, will have an opportunity to provide their comments on these regulations. So you have a say even in the UK regulations. Now, there are cooperation and trade facilitation measures. Working groups have been established, and these are there in order to fast track wherever there is the products are stuck or there is a sector which needs to be pushed forward. Now, a specific highlight is that TBT also has an annex for 17 product sectors, which will be given a special preference, and MRAs would be done for these 17 sectors. Some of them are textile, machinery, toys, personal protective equipment, sporting goods, and others. Now, coming to the SPS measures. The SPS measures, as I shared, deals with protecting human life, animal, plant life, and health. So what do these measures look like? They deal with inspection, sampling, testing, quarantine measures, risk assessment, processing requirements, certifications. Now, this is a snapshot of the SPS measures of how they look like in the India-UK CETA. What is important for us is 3 to 4 principles that the SPS measure, the SPS chapter provides us with regionalization. So let's say a territory in our country is being infected by a disease and products are not getting accepted in the UK market, but we are able to establish a portion or a zone or a compartment in the territory which says that the area, that particular portion, is free from disease. So regionalization helps us ensure that the products which are emanating from the non-affected area are continuing to getting accepted in the UK market, and that does not stop the exports. Equivalence is the same principle as I explained in TBT. The others is import conditions. These improve the facility approvals granted towards UK inspections. Audits are to be done evidence-based, and they are to be done in a proportional manner. Just to share an example is that India has faced this issue where, let's say, spices consignments of India were found to be defective and or non-compliant, and they were not only caught but were destroyed without giving any opportunity to the industry to present their case that how they were compliant. So now this chapter provides between the two parties a process, a mechanism, a pathway where you will get an opportunity to present your case that how your product is compliant, and there is a review mechanism in place. Further, as you can see on the slide also, that bovine exports will also take care of VOA obligations. So this is for the first time in the SPS chapter with any of the India's FTA partners, animal welfare and antimicrobial resistant pathway has been created, where each country will get their own choice with their own scope to make any regulation and also discuss the harmonization between these principles. The important element here is that harmonization deals with that our regulations are meeting the international standards, and so are the UK regulation meeting international standards. If either of the regulations are not meeting international standards, the other party can raise a question, can discuss this in a forum. And as it was mentioned that SPS is such a sensitive sector for India, so this sector has been kept out of the dispute settlement process, and deeper dialogue-based, cooperative-based mechanisms are being explored here. So this is again a snapshot of what we can expect from these chapters providing us, and I hope this presentation helps us and takes us forward and increases India's export potential. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. James Nedumara, Professor Head, CTIL and India Chair of WTO Chairs Program, and also Mr. Vishishta Malhotra, Assistant CTL, for the presentations. To save the time, we'll have the Q&A taken on after the panel discussion, towards the end of the panel discussions also. Now we'll move to the panel discussions. We have with Dr. K. Sriguma, Professor, Jain University, as the chair of the session. He's a postgraduate in commerce and a fellow of the Institute of Cost Economics of India, and he has obtained PhD in management from the Kochi University of Science and Technology. He's a management accounting professional having more than 30 years experience and spread over business schools, academy, university, teaching and research, banking and manufacturing India and abroad. Currently, he is a professor, the Deputy Director of School of Commerce, Jain deemed to be University, Kochi campus. I request Dr. K. Sriguma to take over the session as the moderator of the session. The table is getting arranged. We also have the panelists, namely comprising of Ms. Deepthi Nair, Senior Director, Marketing, Coconut Development Board. Ma'am, please be on the dais. Mr. Basint Narayan, Director, Marketing, Spices Board of India. Dr. Ansar Ali, Deputy Director, Marketing Service, Empata. Ms. Simi Unikrishnan, Assistant General Manager, Regional Head, Apada. Mr. Anil Kumar, PC, Regional Vice Chairperson, Honor Secretary, Cochin Special Economic Zone. Ms. Sunata Tiwari, Consultant Assistant Professor, Center for Trade and Investment Law, CTL. So that completes the panel, mainly comprising of the commodity boards and Export Promotional Council, also from the CTL. All the panelists and details will be explained in detail by Dr. K. Sriguma. Over to Dr. K. Sriguma, Professor, Jain University, to take over the session.
A very good afternoon to all who are present here. We are running 35 minutes late of the schedule, but we'll try to consolidate and complete our discussions on time. Last hour and a half, we have been listening to this document which is called a CETA. Which is not very easy to understand. But the experts who are trying to explain to us has given an idea that how we should be making use of the opportunity given through this agreement, which is yet to be passed in the houses of Indian Parliament, as the UK as well. To further deliberate on the discussions, we have eminent panelists from the prominent organizations in the state of Kerala. Most of them are working under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare. In fact, I'm standing before you when the invitation from FICCI came. That we will be discussing this in detail through the lens of various organizations represented by eminent personalities or panelists with us. We have the Coconut Development Board, Spices Board of India, Marine Products Export Development Authority, Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority, Export Promotion Council for EOUs and Special Economic Zones, and Center for Trade and Investment Law. So we have eminent panelists with us who have enough and more expertise to take us through the journey and how we can utilize the provisions of CETA. Let me introduce the company and the panelist. Coconut Development Board is, I don't think that any of you will require an introduction about the Coconut Development Board. Many of you must be from the area of agriculture or agro-processing. The key roles of CDB is to support coconut farmers and producer groups. They promote value-added coconut products coming out of coconuts like virgin coconut oil, activated carbon, coir-based products, etc. Facilitating export promotion and international market expansion, providing training, technology transfer, and quality improvement initiatives. We have with us Ms. Deepthi Nair, Director Marketing Coconut Development Board, who leads the marketing and export promotion initiatives for India's coconut sector. Her work focuses on expanding international market access, promoting value-added coconut products, and supporting farmers and producer groups in enhancing competitiveness. I'm sure we will get an idea how this CETA can help us and what the role Coconut Development Board will play in promoting this agreement. So we will look forward to you, ma'am, for your contributions. Secondly, we have the Spices Board of India, represented by Basish Narayan Jha, Director Marketing Spices Board of India. Spices, Kerala is well known for its spices and the spice route. All the foreigners who came to India from time immemorial, right from Vasco da Gama, of the Dutch, the Portuguese, the British, the Chinese, the Arabs, and all those came after the spices of Kerala. And the Spices Board is an autonomous body under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and its responsibilities include ensuring quality control and certification for spice exports, promoting Indian spices globally, supporting farmers through training and value chain improvements, setting standards and ensuring traceability for international markets. And given the strong demand for Indian spices in UK, the board plays a central role in sector readiness for CETA. So let us welcome Mr. Basish Narayan Jha, Director amongst us. Then representing Marine Products Export Development Authority, another major organization in marine exports, we have Ms. Dr. Ansar Ali, who is the Deputy Director Marketing Services, MPDA, who handles the marketing related responsibilities for marine product exports at MPDA. Another major export business is marine. And MPDA also works under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and its functions include ensuring compliance with international seafood safety standards, promoting seafood exports and diversification, supporting aquaculture development, providing certification, processing standards, and market intelligence. For the UK market, which has stringent food safety norms, we have just saw the presentation in terms of the stringent standards. UK market, yes, MPs to enter the UK market and help Indian exporters there, MPDA's role is definitely critical. So let us welcome Dr. Ansar Ali to our midst. The next organization is represented, the next organization is Agricultural and Processed Food Products and Export Development Authority, APDA, which works under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and they help the country and the exporters in promoting fruits, vegetables, cereals, poultry, organic products, and more. That is another area where India and particularly Kerala definitely can make an impact by utilizing the CETA agreement. Implementing quality and safety standards, certification including organic and GI products, capacity building for agri-exporters. Under CETA, APDA's role becomes vital in identifying agri-products with enhanced UK market access. So let us welcome the representative, Ms. Semi Unikrishnan, Assistant General Manager and Regional Head of APEDA, Overseas Regional Operations and Export Facilitation, who takes care of the Overseas Regional Operations and Export Facilitation activities under APEDA. We have the representation from Export Promotion Council for EOUs and CES, which works closely with the CES developers, units and government agencies. I think in our special economic zone there are about 160 units which are functioning as per the available data. And their key functions are to represent the SEC policy issues to the government, enhancing competitiveness of export units, facilitating ease of doing business with special economic zones, supporting infrastructure upgrades and global market integration. With increased export potential under CETA, now special economic zones will play an important role in expanding India-UK trade. So let us welcome Mr. Ranil Kumar, the Regional Vice Person, and the Honorary Secretary of Cochin Special Economic Zone to our midst. The last organization which will talk to us through Ms. Sunanda Tiwari, consultant, is CTIL. CTIL is an institution. We have heard two gentlemen who had already made their presentations in the previous sessions. This is an institution under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. It provides legal and policy research support on international trade and investment. We have seen the complications involved in drafting those policy documents and the kind of intellectual and legal knowledge it should go into it, advising the government on trade agreements, interpreting WTO rules and trade obligations, conducting research on market access, tariffs, standards and disputes, building capacity on trade, law for policymakers in industry. CTIL helps stakeholders understand the legal implications and opportunities arising from agreements like the India-UK CETA. And let us welcome Ms. Sunanda Tiwari to our midst. So the format is, we will listen to all the speakers one by one, starting with the Coconut Board in the same order that I have introduced them to you. They will talk about the role of the respective organizations in promoting the India-UK CETA agreement, a brief description of the products exported to UK, then what is the expected trade increase with the deduction of duties that is expected through the agreement between these two large economies, the sixth and fourth, which was mentioned in the earlier session, then possible assistance, if any, these organizations would provide to such exporters to expand the trade. So this is the format that we'll follow, and the format is already been shared with them, and we will listen to them, and we'll take a few questions. In the process, you can note down those, the clarifications that you seek from each of the panelists, and try to collect the questions, and towards the end we can address those queries. Okay, I hope that this format is okay for you. So gentle ladies and noble men, let us start the discussions with the first speaker, Ms. Deepthi Nair. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Good afternoon to all. First of all, on behalf of Coconut Development Board, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to FICCI for taking initiative in organizing this program and also inviting us, as has already been mentioned by the chair of the session. We are an export promotion council for coconut products, mainly coconut products other than coir products, because we do have a coir board which is taking care of the export related activities for coir products. And we are dealing with all coconut products. And coming to the potential for export of coconut products, we have on the dais big EPCs like marine products, sea fish, spices, who have a very prominent role in the export. So compared to them, the export of coconut products is comparatively less, but we do have a potential when you consider the state of Kerala for prospects for coconut products. When we consider the last 2 years, what we have seen is that every year we have had a 20% increase in the export of coconut products to UK. So that is a very promising scenario for coconut products. And the major hurdle that we were facing related to the export of coconut products, that is the major products that are exported to UK during the last decade, if you consider, it has been mostly activated carbon from coconut shell charcoal, which is mainly used for water purification in air mask, making supercapacitors and all of those. And food products like coconut oil, then fresh coconut has been exported, products like frozen grated coconut, desiccated coconut and dried coconut. These are the major products which have had a potential for exporting to UK during the last, you take 4 to 5 years. And the major hurdle that we were facing was that we have, for coconut products, our domestic prices are higher than the international prices. So when our exporters try to export our coconut products to UK, what we face is that we are not able to compete price-wise. Quality-wise we are okay, but price-wise we are not able to compete with most of the ASEAN countries who have better privileges with regard to the tariffs. And countries like Sri Lanka, they had preferences in the UK market. So our exporters who were exporting these products have been working on a very narrow margin. So that situation has been greatly moved through this agreement, the CETA agreement, because all of the products, HS codes have already been included under the 99% where we have had the tariff reduction. And this has created a congenial atmosphere for the potential for export of coconut products to UK. So we believe and we look forward to increased export, because during the last 2 years, even without such an agreement, we were able to have an enhanced export to UK, ranging around 20% hike over the previous year. So with the tariff reduction, we expect that the percentage increase of export to UK is going to increase beyond that. Maybe we look forward to around 30%. And for a state like Kerala, what I wanted to thrust is that Kerala, if you take 50 years back, we were having more than 68% of the production of coconut in the country was in Kerala, which has now reduced to almost half of that. But still, when you go for the processing industry and all, the quality of the processed product, the industries, even if they are established in Tamil Nadu, they still ensure that 20% of their raw material comes from Kerala. So that is that the Kerala coconut has a quality advantage over the coconut in other places. So I think with the interventions that our Honorable Principal Secretary Industries and the current Industries Minister are all taking in Kerala, and the proposed Kutiyadi Coconut Park, we hope that something will come up positive for the coconut sector. Coming to what are the services that can be offered from Coconut Development Board for catering to the provisions and making use of the tariff reduction in UK CETA agreement. First of all, as earlier the speaker had gone through the major areas, and that quality of the product was of prominence. So Coconut Board offers schemes for establishment, like if you have an existing unit, you can even go in for expansion in and catering to the state-of-the-art technology for manufacturing, and we'll be able to provide you assistance which is back-ended and credit-linked assistance for establishing or modernizing your processing unit at the rate of 25% of the project cost, and the ceiling is around 5 crores. So that is a scheme, because what we find is that there are a lot of Indian diaspora in UK, and there is a very good market for products like frozen grated coconut and other products also like coconut oil. So that is something. And when you consider coconut products during the after 2020, specifically after the corona period, what we find is that especially in Europe, there is increased demand for coconut products like coconut milk and coconut water. So from Kerala, I think we will be able to capitalize on that and establish good units. And the board also provides support for establishing in-house laboratories attached to your processing units, We have schemes where you can take quality certification. The earlier speaker was talking about the importance of environment sustainability, importance of worker safety, importance of quality. So we will be able to assist you in getting quality certifications. We do have schemes wherein we will be able to support you with 50% of your cost for certification. And coming to the product development also, innovative products in coconut are emerging, and innovations have a role. So we will be able to support you for product development in association with research institutes. That is another thing. Coming to the market development, apart from the MDA and MAI schemes of the Ministry of Commerce, and also under the Export Promotion Mission and the Labh Setu, there has been a convergence of almost all activities under one portal so that it is easier for the exporter. We will also be able to support you in making market development through participation in trade fairs. We do participate in a number of trade fairs wherein we facilitate the participation of our exporters. And also for the bioseller meet, we do have exclusive bioseller meets which are arranged in collaboration with our embassies or the consulars, and also in collaboration with FICCI and other Chamber of Commerce. So registered exporters in Coconut Development Board can make use of that privilege to participate in such programs, and also gain market development or market expansion for your products, niche markets, or even innovative products. And in this, the coconut is an ideal crop which caters to the environment friendliness, sustainability, biodegradability, and the potential is huge. We do have many types of innovations which are coming up. I will just tell you an example. We have maybe many of you are familiar with a product, a coconut water pack product called Mogu Mogu from Thailand, which is available in our markets. You have a product called Nata de Coco, a jelly-like product which is put in that. So the coconut water, the water gives you, quenches your thirst, and the jelly will quench your hunger. The Nata de Coco, which is not conforming to food grade, that is not conforming to food grade, it is currently now being exported to Germany. And why it is being exported to Germany? Because they are converting that into leather. And why leather? Because that is vegan. It is not produced from animal. So what I was about to tell is that the potential for innovation in coconut products is very immense. And the board will be able to support you for product development. If you have an idea, you pitch in with an innovation, we'll be able to support you for developing that innovation. Innovations during the past 5 years has been immense. Even you would have heard about straws and pens from coconut leaf, things like that. Those products are gaining prominence in countries like developed countries wherein the thrust is on sustainability. So that aspect also the board will be able to support you. We have a specific program wherein entrepreneurs who are able to pitch in innovative ideas will be able to collaborate with you to develop that ideas. We also have an incubation center. In Kerala, it is in Vazhakulam, that is between Aluva and Perumbavoor. We also have an NABL accredited lab where we will be able to extend support for quality analysis and also getting your products tested. We can provide you trainings for your chemist and microbiologist for catering to the requirements of the export thing. And also we do have some schemes for brand promotion wherein you will be able to support promoting your brand in overseas market through various, there are many categories which is available in our website, or we'll be able to discuss one-to-one. So in a nutshell, these are the major programs. We also have some business delegations also we are planning in our, once this in India-UK CETA comes into effect, once the DIF comes, then we are planning for a delegation so that we'll be able to move over there and present our products and get market access and market development. So this is in a nutshell about what the programs that the board has related to processing and related to export promotion. We do offer trainings and seminars also related to export promotion activities and also related to the technology and other marketing standards and all. We have support mechanisms for establishing kiosks, small coconut outlets. You would have seen coconut outlets in Kochi International Airport. KLF runs a coconut outlet in the domestic and international. Similarly, if you are interested, you can even, we can support you for establishing kiosks wherein you can promote your products and give a greater visibility for that. So that is in a nutshell about the major schemes. Maybe when we have a discussion or when you have a one-to-one discussion, we can elaborate on that. So that is from my side. Thank you for the opportunity and looking forward to a good discussion regarding this. Thank you.
Ma'am, I have a question to you regarding the zero waste concept that you have just put forward. So Dr. James and his team was mentioning about those major areas like environment and labor and gender, anti-corruption. There are so many areas, but the environment actually it suits well. Now the coconut production in Kerala actually it is coming down. Whereas Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, they have already overtaken us in terms of coconut production. So I do not know how many of you are here in the coconut, related to coconut and coconut production or processing. And you have huge opportunities coming into because it meets with the environment straight away because it's zero waste. All the parts of a coconut, whether it is the shell or the oil or water, everything is usable. And it doesn't create any waste. Though what is the export potential for the new entrants in these areas? You have many schemes coming into. What encouragements that the people who are sitting here from the MSMEs particularly, what are the schemes that you have in about 2-3 sentences, if you can explain, because of the paucity of the time. We have more questions, but at least, to inspire the audience, what are the areas that they can enter into. If you can just tell us in a few words, that would be fine.
Yeah, thank you. As rightly pointed out, sir, coconut is a product which is zero waste. So now we are promoting integrated coconut processing unit. That is, you utilize the whole coconut. You utilize the husk, you utilize the shell, you utilize the water. Even when you are making virgin coconut oil or desiccated coconut or coconut milk, you utilize the residue also because it is fiber rich and it is also having immense application in the production of various products. So if you ask me what are the products with the highest potential, the top 2 products are coconut water and coconut milk. Coconut milk has been getting, just like almond milk and soya milk, coconut milk is also considered as a vegan alternative to dairy milk, and there are many races and many countries where they do have dairy intolerance or they are allergic. The best example is China, because China, even before 5 years back, they had started consuming coconut milk on par with dairy milk. And we do have firms who are making tea and coffee sachets with coconut milk, similar to dairy milk. But I'm not telling that the MSMEs need to go for that, but they can go in for production of coconut milk, which is a very good, very good product, and also coconut water. What is important is that when you are going for coconut water or coconut milk, being a product for zero waste, you can generate many other products also from that. Like if you are a unit who is going for coconut water, and coconut water can be tender coconut water or mature coconut water. For the Malayali people, we believe that it is the tender nut that we are consuming. But in the global market, whatever you get as coconut water, it is the mature coconut water. It is the less sweet mature coconut water. So when you are if you are going for an industry which is manufacturing coconut milk, you also get the water, you also get the shell, you also get the husk, which you can give to processing units who are manufacturing that, or you can yourself do maybe not the processing to the final product, but to an intermediate product. So you can have revenue from all the parts of coconut. And what we would like to tell you is that we did have issues like sir was talking about the sustainability, the environment friendliness. So during the last 5 years, we have concentrated on developing technology which is environment friendly. For instance, there was a big issue that our activated carbon, which is used, which is having a very good export potential, the technology for making the charcoal was not environment friendly. So during the last 2 years, what we have done is that in association with the Pollution Control Board and also with the research institution, we have been able to develop a technology which does not cause pollution. So in that way, we'll be able to cater to the requirement of developed countries which are really strict related to environmental pollution, how you are treating your effluents, all of those conditions. Even for desiccated coconut, there was a very great issue from Pollution Control Board that the effluent that is coming through the washing of the machinery, it contains, the effluent will contain a little amount of coconut oil, however we extract that. So Pollution Control Board has collaborated with Coconut Development Board, and through NIST we have developed a technology, a very good technology for how to treat that effluent and generate not only biogas but also fertilizer through anaerobic and aerobic fermentation. So this type of development of technology is there, and for a new MSME or a new exporter who is interested in doing such products, we would recommend that you can go in for coconut milk or coconut water. And we do have special schemes for new exporters, wherein we will support them with sending of your samples once you in search of orders. We are developing a trade portal wherein we will be onboarding the new exporters, so that through our website they'll be getting an access to the international inquiries, and also BSMs and one-to-one delegations, participation in delegations to UK to take advantage of the CEPA. So we have in line a number of programs. So if you are getting in touch with us, we'll be able to support them with these schemes and help them.
So I think that FICCI will take a lead role in this. Rising coconut prices we are already experiencing that, and farmers are getting benefited. And with this, CETA is coming into force from 2026, another 6 months down the line. I'm sure that the entrepreneurs can really think about how to utilize these facilities to further their prospects in export business, particularly in the coconut area. And DGFT have already offered their services in terms of connecting with the other government bodies. And the Principal Secretary Industries, Mr. Mohammed Hanish, was saying that 30% of the units from 2022 to the increase of the agro-processing units, 30% of them are in agriculture. So therefore, there is a lot of potential for Kerala to explore the possibilities. Now, having heard ma'am, now we'll move on to the Spices Board. Spices, yes, I have just mentioned in the initial lines that Kerala is popular for its spices world over. And in similar lines, we would like to listen to Mr. Jha. Okay, Mr. Jha. Which part of the country are you from?
I am from Bihar.
Bihar.
Born and brought up in Mumbai.
Mumbai, okay. So we will listen to him what the Spices Board is envisaging in terms of CETA and the products, the spices products of India, and particularly Kerala, because Kerala is popular for the spice exports from time immemorial. So let us listen to him in terms of what the role the Spices Board will play in promoting India-UK CETA agreement, and a brief description of the products exported to UK particularly, and what are the expected trade increase with the reduction in duties that can happen in this area, and possible assistance that Spices Board would provide. Ma'am had already offered, in terms of the Coconut Board, what it can do in terms of, boosting the exports in terms of coconut and product and related products. So over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all of you. As you know, Kerala, perhaps since time immemorial, it has been home to spices. And Kerala, we have found multiple spices are grown. And as per the Government of India notifications, we are having 53 spices, notified spices, for which we are taking necessary steps for export promotion. So out of these 53 spices, what we export to around 180 countries in around more than 245 different combinations of various value-added spices. So there is a long list of spices are there which are being exported to, as I have said, all across the globe. And perhaps India produces around 12.8 million tons of spices, of which we are only exporting 1.5 million tons of spices, which are 15% of the total spices produced. So 85% we ourselves are consuming it. So in the sense, wheresoever in the globe with whom we are competing in spices, in that case when we talk about pepper, out of all the 53 spices, many of the voyagers who has come to India, they came in search of a spice itself. And the wealth initially, thousands of years before what was created, was due to the trade in spices. And that too, black pepper is well known across the globe. And everybody's, all the buyers sought for the pepper. So likewise for the pepper, we have a lot of competitions are there. Globally, it is being produced by Vietnam is there, Brazil is there, Indonesia is there, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Nigeria, and multiple, China also picking it up. And so in that sense, when we say these producing countries, initially India was quite far ahead in 1995 when we were producing the largest quantity of pepper was being produced globally. But now that has been taken over by Vietnam. By more than 5 times they are producing compared to the India. Even though when they are producing say around 275,000 metric ton of pepper, out of that 90% or 90 to 95% they are exporting it out. So only 5% they are utilizing for the domestic consumption. Whereas in India, when we consume say around 125,000 metric ton, but out of that, we ourselves consume more than 80%, and hardly 20% is being exported in various value-added forms. And that too value-added form, when you talk about value-added form, the share of the spices is around 50%. 50% is in whole spices and 50% is value-added spices. And value-added spices, again, Kerala is home to that, because when you see oils and oleoresins, what are required by the developed countries, for that matter also UK, United Kingdom, Europe Union, US, other countries. Majorly it is fetched from Kerala. And the big industries are here, those who are processing these oils and oleoresin segments. And now, other than this, there is also a market which is coming up in the seasoning segment. So seasoning, on the basis of the market research, it is shown that the present market size is somewhere around 2022 billion USD, but which is going to grow at a CAG of 7% and will be touching almost $31 billion globally. And in India, contribution for the seasoning sauces is hardly somewhere less than 1%. And the major other countries, those who are meeting the requirements globally, are from either Europe or from United States, China. China is in a big way, they are coming in value-added forms. And for that matter, when we talk about other spices other than the pepper, as per the UK CETA, so 3 major spices are there which are being exported to UK. One is the cumin. Cumin contributes to around 28 million US dollar, then followed by curry powder and paste. And that is again some sorts of seasonings will be also there, which is contributing to 25 million US dollar. And then followed by chili. Chili is around 25 million US dollar same. But in the case of chili, the duties which is being charged by UK is around 4.5%. And other spices, it is 0% in the case of UK CETA. But once this trade deal is formulated, so again we will find that the 4.5% is also comes to 0%, and the enhancement of the exports, what chili is contributing globally is the highest amongst all these spices. That is 28% of the share of the exports are coming from red chili. And then followed by cumin. Cumin is globally we are exporting to around 16%. And then goes to oils and
sorry
oil
to
resins.
interpret.
Yeah.
We also have got other spices like cloves, turmeric, cinnamon, ginger. These are all in Kerala, available in Kerala.
Okay.
So what are the possibilities in those spices processing? You know, because we are talking to the entrepreneurs from MSME areas. So what are their prospects in terms of?
Yeah, so as I have
Can you
told
just
you,
go ahead?
yeah, so that's what I was telling it. Basically in whole spices, what margin you get, it is not that significant. But when you mix, blend or make a paste, like a curry powder, when we say curry powder, but in Britain, in the UK, when you sell, if you are selling in the name of Madras curry powder, so they feel it's something like very close to Madras curry powder because they have been in India for centuries, they ruled it. So when you say, because various cuisine preparation also, they will say we are using Madras curry powder because but now slowly it has been changed to 3 different configurations of curry powder. That is the hot, medium and light curry powders. So, and it is contributing, when we are seeing that the total globally what they are sourcing UK, it's around 1,800 US dollar imports are there from various countries. Out of that, 1,100 million US dollar is only from curry powder, curry mixes and curry paste, blends and other seasonings. So that contributes around 50% of the total exports is in that segment where there is a lot of potential. So from this perspective also, if any of the startups are there or new entrepreneurs are there, they should look towards something which they can export in a value-added form. And when we talk about value-added form, when there are mixes or blends or curry powders are there, definitely all those spices, what you have mentioned, you have to put it in some or other proportions. Then only you can make it in a value-added form. And that is a very big requirements are there, even for United Kingdom and other parts of Europe Union. So a lot of potential what we have found in those segments.
Okay. Thank you for your views and paucity of time. Let us move on to the next speaker. And after the presentation by each of the speakers are over, then we will take the questions from you. So more discussions can happen there. So the next person is our MPDA representative, Dr. Ansar Ali. Would you like to speak from the podium? Yes, please. So try to complete between 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Meanwhile, to say a few lines about the importance of Kerala with regard to marine sector. Actually, the seafood export started from the state of Kerala with a small consignment in the early 50s to Sri Lanka, and now our exports are around from India 7.45 billion US dollars. Okay, so with regard to when we see the imports of UK marine products, it is around 4 billion. So it's a huge market, and our current share is around 2.25%. There are several products imported by UK which include the species that are not available in India also. So they are having imports of cold water fishes like salmon, cod and all, which is not available in India. When we see the products that are important to India, our share is around 3.9%. Shrimp is the major item. Out of the 104 million, 80 million is around shrimp. That is our 77% of our total exports, followed by frozen fish and frozen squid. When we see this year data, the current data is around 56.89 million, and as I said earlier, frozen shrimp dominating. There are 145 exporters regularly exporting marine products to UK. More than 500 units are listed for exporting to UK. When we see the major states, the major top 3 states are Tamil Nadu, Andhra and Kerala. But when we compare the data compared to the previous year, there is a decline in exports from Tamil Nadu and Andhra. Kerala, there is a 12% increase. Odisha, there is a 39% increase, and Gujarat, there is a 17.84% increase in the exports to UK. Still, Tamil Nadu is the leading state with a value of $28.9 million. With the current tariff, it is 4.2 to 8.5% for Chapter 3 products, that is raw products. For prepared and processed products, the duty's current tariff is 7 to 21.5%. So there is a high tariff for prepared products. Post CETA, most of the products are expected to have a 0% tariff, and we are expecting that the share of exports, that is from the present value, it is likely to double, targeting 4 to 5% of the market in the short term. So from the present 104 million in the short term, after the once the duty-free access comes, the exports can increase up to 280 million. And we can focus products such as frozen shrimp, frozen fish, and prepared and preserved products. These are the major products at present being exported. Under Chapter 3, frozen shrimp, fish fillets of catfish, and frozen fish. These are the major items imported by UK. If we can increase a market share of 5 to 35%, it is expected to increase to 154 million. And in the case of Chapter 16, UK imports around 1 billion. But the present share of value-added products from India is around 10% only. It is a huge market potential, just like canned tuna or preserved canned sardines or prepared or preserved shrimps is having a huge market in UK. There is a $1 billion market for Chapter 23 products, feeds, fish meal and all. At present, we are exporting 0.6 billion. So that market we are fairly utilizing. So once the tariff for the Chapter 3 products, the present is 4.2 to 8.5. We are expecting that the tariff will be eliminated once it come into force. Chapter 16, the present tariff is 7 to 21.5%, and it will be eliminated once that it will come into force. And in the case of imports, Chapter 3 products, the present duty rate is 33%. If any import is happening from UK, so that will be eliminated, entry into force, with a few exceptions. We are having our own species like vaname. Vaname is not our own species, still it is major farmed species in India. Indian white shrimp, black tiger shrimp, flower shrimp, etc. This will be, the present tariff is 33%, and that will be eliminated over a period of 10 years. So each year there will be elimination of 3.3%. Chapter 16 products, again 33% at the present tariff, and again it will be eliminated over a period of 10 years. And extracts of fish also, the present is 33% duty, and it will be eliminated over a period of 3 years. We have created awareness to the stakeholders, and we have conducted just like this India-UK CETA program at Cochin, Chennai, Vizag, and next week we are doing for Bhubaneswar also. So the initiatives came from exporters is to have trade delegations to UK. The main focus is on value-added products and a direct market linkage with supermarket chains where the products can be marketed directly, where the value-added products which is produced in India. And we normally used to do, as madam told, buyer-seller meet and reverse buyer-seller meet also. Online also we are doing it if any particular demand is there. Buyer-seller meet and reverse buyer-seller meet is one strategy, and trade fair participation through in-country consultant. We used to participate in major fairs across the globe, so Seafood Expo, North America, Boston, then in Europe, Barcelona, then Russia, then Japan, China, like that. For participating in the trade fairs for the registered exporters, we used to give assistance. We used to, for a exporter exporting less than 10 million US dollar, we used to assist 75% of the fair participation. For an exporter exporting 10 to 20 million, there is an assistance of 50% of the cost of fair participation. Then another important sector we have to focus is on value addition, because at present India's share in the exports of value addition is only 10%. Our competing countries like Vietnam, Thailand and China, they are having at least minimum 30% value addition. 30 to 60% value addition different countries are having. So the focus should be on value addition and training. We are giving training to different categories of employees in the processing plant for value addition, starting from management to workers. Another thing we can focus is on import of raw material for value addition, because most of the cold water fishes we can import and do value addition and then can be exported. So thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ansar, for your presentation. It's very interesting. Both the sectors now, all the three sectors that we had, one is the coconut, the other one is spices, and now marine products. There are a lot of questions to be asked, but for paucity of time, we are moving to the next speaker. Ma'am, Simi Unikrishnan, now you can proceed with your presentation, and we'll keep the questions towards the end.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Vicky for inviting me for this event. Now I request you to kindly share my presentation. I'm Simi Unikrishnan, Regional Head, EPIDA Regional Office, Cochin. And EPIDA is Agriculture and Processed Food Export Development Authority under Ministry of Commerce, Government of India. Okay, with regard to India's export to UK, I've taken the data of all agri products. With regard to all agri products, we have been exporting around 1022.55 US dollar million in the year 2024-25, and it is 5,38,470 metric tons in terms of quantity. And we can see the UK exports have increased from India in these years, all the agriculture products. This is covering all the agriculture products. With regard to the share of EPIDA products in overall agri exports, in 2022-23 we had 53% of share, that has increased to 59%, then further it has increased to 61%. The major agriculture products export to United Kingdom are basmati rice. It has share of 18.67% in the overall agri exports, followed by spices. It has share of 13.15%, followed by marine products. It has share of 10.18%, percentage. Then miscellaneous process items, processed fruits and juices, tea, cereal preparations, fresh fruits, other commodities, and then fresh vegetables. These are the other miscellaneous commodities, that is processed vegetables, coffee, pulses, non-basmati rice, ayush and herbal products, castor oil, milk products, guargum meal, groundnut and sesame seeds. These are the major products in India's agri-export basket. With regard to India-UK CETA, I haven't covered the chapters of animal products since we do not have market access as of now. But as IAFT has said, if there is a possibility of recognition of FMD, then I think we can go for a market access, and even poultry products can be exported with compartmentalization from India. However, these chapters I haven't covered. The chapters that has zero duty from effective EIF is chapter 8, which covers fresh fruits and vegetables, chapter 7, chapter 11, chapter 12, chapter 13, 14, then 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. The alcoholic beverages chapter was also covered by IAFT. Then further, the items that are excluded and that is being exported from India is basmati rice, then non-basmati rice, then other rice products that is covered under the HS code 100630. Then further, with regard to Kerala, UK is the 5th largest destination, and Kerala is the 5th largest state with regard to India's export to UK. This is as per the port export data. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. We'll keep the questions for you. Over to Mr. Anil Kumar. You will listen to him on the special economic zone and how it helps exports.
Good afternoon, friends. At the very outset, let me congratulate the Kerala chapter of FICCI for organizing such a workshop on this CETA, India-UK Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement. The timing is very relevant as US has imposed 50% tariff, and we have to find out alternative markets. So such agreements, such CETA agreements with UK, and we are also expecting to sign an agreement with European Economic Union also. So such agreements will help in boosting the trade, and the turnover, export reduction in turnover on account of US higher customs tariff will be neutralized by such agreements and boosting the exports. This bilateral trade will increase bilateral trade of USD 120 billion by 2030. And the purpose of the agreement is expand two-way trade, facilitate investment, reduce trade barriers, promote technological transfer, and strengthen global competitiveness. I am representing Cochin Special Economic Zone, and we have more than 100 units doing exports, 100 functioning units, and out of which 20 to 25 units are exporting to UK. UK market is a gateway to Europe, and see, I have discussed with all the industrial units which are exporting to UK. The inquiries are coming more, and see that effect is coming gradually only, and they are expecting some 20 to 25% increase in their turnover. the scope, the scope of this agreement is service and trade, investment promotion, regulatory cooperations, and sector-wise is textile and apparels, pharmaceutical and life sciences, medical devices. I'm representing a medical device factory, and at present there is some 11% tariff which will be coming down slowly. So this will help us in increasing our turnover, our trade with the UK, almost 25% in the near future. And also we are planning to set up in an international standard testing laboratory in Cochin Special Economic Zone, which will help us in doing the testing of the products in CES itself. And right now we are doing all this testing through private labs, which is very costly and time consuming, and there is a lot of delay in doing exports. So this lab, international standard lab, will help us in improving the testing facilities and also timely export. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Now we have the last speaker.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a wonderful panel, and representatives from Coconut Board, Spices Board, APEDA have already talked about what is the market access potential for our goods. So I would like to talk about the intangible aspect that also helps us in achieving market access is the intellectual property right. I think this stems from something my co-speaker was speaking about, the branding aspect of the spices, that once you have certain sense of branding attached to it, like a Madras curry powder, it evokes a certain kind of emotion in the consumer, and it automatically elevates the status of the product in the market. So in this regard, I think the aspect that we need to look into UK CETA specifically is how we have achieved protection for our geographical indications. Geographical indications, as we particularly know, are products which are attached to a particular geographic origin and has certain characteristics and capabilities that make them distinct in the market. Particularly in the context of Kerala, we have quite a few agriculture products which would greatly benefit from this India-UK CETA and the enhanced GI protection it provides, specifically for several GI tagged rice products, I believe. And then we have Malabar coffee, we have LP cardamom, one of our popular Kerala GI products, and just not the agriculture product aspect of it. The India-UK CETA also goes a little deeper and talks about certain kind of protection for handicrafts and industrial goods. So when I say about handicraft goods, I think one of the prime examples would be Chedamangalam dhotis that are very prominent from Kerala. And it's one of great Kerala exports, precisely. I mean, if you look into a recent PIB notification regarding GI exports, Mariyur jaggery from Kerala has actually raised in its export potential to UK. So why am I talking about GI in the present context, and how does UK CETA help in? So if you look into the chapter 13, which is intellectual property rights, section B of the chapter specifically deals with the protection of GIs. So currently, what issues do we get in GI protection is generally going to the home country where you want GI protection, the cumbersome process, difficulties of our producer groups to get the GI products protected in the UK essentially. So what we have done in the UK CETA is we have come up with a concept called mutual recognition, where both India and UK will share a list of their most prominent GIs, and then those GIs will get protected in the territory, respective territory of each other. So essentially what it does it reduces the burden on the producers group to get their individual GIs protected in that particular territory, primarily here UK, and with that exchange of list, we will get our GIs protected directly. this is a concept of mutual recognition in the GIs, and this is the first time that India has done a list sharing or a list share basis mechanism for GI protection. Why am I speaking of it? Because it becomes really important, because once your product is GI tagged, right? Like for example, our most famous products are Darjeeling tea, Alfonso mango, or basmati rice. I mean, in fact, basmati rice is one of our most prominent and the most contested GI for certain reasons. But once your product gets GI tagged, it gets that kind of consumer confidence. It evokes a certain kind of emotion that once it's placed on the market, it automatically benefits from being sold as a premium product. And once you get a GI protection, that product will also be subject to any imitation activities. Then you have enforcement protections. So ultimately, one of the most innovative sides of India-UK CETA is our enhanced protection for GIs, which I think particularly the panelist board we have today would benefit the kind of protection this particular chapter, specifically for GI products, has to offer.
Okay. In the meantime, the questions from the audience are collected. I have a question to Mr. Ansar. MPDA is a national organization, and now you are from the Kerala office. Okay, MPDA head office is also in Kerala. Okay. Why the marine exporters are getting shifted from Kerala to Andhra Pradesh? If you want to increase the export potential of Kerala, how do you, because you are a national organization. Okay. So why is that that they are all getting shifted to Andhra Pradesh?
Sir, earlier, now Andhra, the major aqua farming, we can say Andhra is the hub of aquaculture activities in the entire Asia. So the raw material is the main constraint for the exporters shifting from Kerala to Andhra. Earlier, the dependence was on marine catch, sea caught items. Still, when we see the exports of Kerala, the major export is sea caught and again raw material from Andhra or Tamil Nadu, which is the aquaculture shrimp. The focus, when we see the major exported item is shrimp. More than around 38 or 40% quantity-wise, the export is shrimp. So that's why there is a shift in the units moving from Kerala to Andhra. Still, the exporters may be registered exporters, may be from Kerala. They may be setting up units in Andhra also, just to tap the raw material, aquaculture raw material.
So when you talk about raw materials, what exactly is the raw material?
Shrimp, basically shrimp. There are two. When we see, there are two types of raw material. One is catch from the sea. Other is farmed one. Mainly Andhra, they are farming. Andhra shrimp is mainly farmed shrimp. So farmed
through hatcheries. Hatcheries in the water bodies.
Through farms. But sir, there are when we see the India also, the west coast, except Gujarat, mainly depends upon sea caught material. The east coast, the states where most of the farming activities are happening, just like Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Odisha, and West Bengal. West Bengal, we can say Andhra, Tamil Nadu, and Odisha, the dependence is more on farmed shrimp. That's why even units are shifting to Odisha also.
Okay, we have more questions to ask to the panelists, but because of the paucity of time, and we are hitting the. So warning has come from the organizers that we have to stop. So thank you, panelists, for your wholehearted participation, and one-to-one discussions can happen by the entrepreneurs to each one of you. And I'm very much thankful to FICCI and its organizers for giving the opportunities to be a part of this wonderful panel. And we have experts representing various organizations which have got a prominent role to promote the trade in Kerala and making use of the opportunities opened by the CETA. And thank you very much, audience, also for your patient hearing.
Thank you, Dr. K. Sugama, Professor, Jain University, for wonderfully moderating the session, and also other panelists, mainly Ms. Deepthi Nair, Basant Narayancha, and Sarali, Simi Unikrishnan, Anil Kumar, and Sunanda Tiwari. So I would request Dr. James Nedumra to please come over and hand off a token of appreciation to the moderator and all the panelists. Thank you. You know that our speakers also have to leave the catch of the flight, so we'll try to finish off very fast also. But now we have a short presentation from Imjit Kaur, Research Fellow, Center for Trade Investment and Law, on the Trade Advisory Cell of CTL. Followed by we have a detailed presentation on existing products by SBI.
Good afternoon, everyone. Due to paucity of time, I'll try to keep my presentation short. And it's my privilege to speak about the Trade Remedies Advisory Cell of CTI. In today's globalized world, international markets are very more connected and more competitive than before. And while this opens immense opportunities for Indian businesses, it also exposes them to unfair trade practices such as dumping, subsidization, sudden surge in imports. These practices can harm domestic industries and distort fair competition. So this is where the track steps in as a crucial support system. We provide assistance to Indian industry, especially in understanding and navigating trade remedy laws, and provide holistic support in matters related to anti-dumping, countervailing duty, and safeguard duty investigation if any MSME is interested in filing complaint. And we also conduct training and awareness program to ensure that domestic industry is empowered, informed, and prepared to defend their legitimate interest in global trade. And most importantly, the track advisory support is for free for MSMEs. So to ensure that everyone is on the on the same page, that the trade remedies are majorly of three types: anti-dumping measures, countervailing measures, safeguard measures. And to ensure that that these duties with respect to these trade remedies are imposed, there has to be in case of anti-dumping, there has to be dumping, where which means that a particular good is exported less than normal value of lieu in the exporting country. In case of countervailing duty, a good is subsidized by the government. In safeguard, there is a surge in the import, and there is injury. There is injury or threat of injury, and there is a causal link between, in case of anti-dumping, causal link between dumping and the injury to the industry, and in case of countervailing investigation, subsidy and the injury to the so basically there should be a causal link between the both. And there are and the investigation process needs to be completed within 12 months, but in certain cases it can be extended up to 6 months as well. And in terms of safeguard measures, there are two types: global safeguards, which are to be imposed on all the countries, all the WTO members. In terms of bilateral safeguards, when you have trade agreements, for example, India-UK CETA, there are if there is any sudden surge in imports due to reduction or elimination of duties on a given product, then a safeguard measure can be imposed only on the import of only on the surge in import from that particular trading partner under that trading agreement. And so far, India has investigated, there are 13 investigations. One is 13 total safeguard measures, and one bilateral safeguard is under it's still ongoing. And so far, as in terms of institutional support, there are before 2018, Directorate General of Anti-Dumping and Allied Duties used to conduct the investigation on anti-dumping and anti-subsidy investigations, and Directorate General Safeguard used to conduct investigations for safeguards. But after May 2018, it's DGTR which conducts investigation on all three, for all three measures. And they're very proactive in supporting MSME sectors. For example, they have simplified formats and questionnaires to be filled by producers and producers, importers, users, and domestic industry. They have introduced self-certification. They have introduced procedure for sampling for domestic producers who are in fragmented industry, and there are provision for suo motu investigation in terms of safeguards. Recently, they have introduced a CETA platform. Earlier, investigation, all the application which you are supposed to be introduced in a which you have to file an application. Earlier, it used to be through email. Now you can you can submit all your documents on CETA platform. It's been recently introduced. So in conclusion, I want to urge all the businesses to like proactively seek guidance on when facing injury from unfair imports, and MSME to utilize trade remedies advisory cells, free advisory support. Because India's economic strength lies not only in its ability to produce competitively, but also in its ability to defend that competitiveness. Thank you.
Thank you. Amjit Kaur, Research Fellow, Center for Trade and Investment Law, on the presentation on Trade Advisory Cell of CTL. Of course, you can have the detailed discussion with the CTL team after the program. Now, we have a last presentation, this very important presentation by SBI on the exim products, especially on the various aspects, how you can be utilized. Mr. Arun Sukumaran, Head Regional Treasury Marketing Unit, will take over.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anup. I represent SBI today. I'll be going through a short and brief presentation on the various export and treasury products we have for all the customers here. Now, starting off, of course, SBI, we take immense pride in being the largest bank of India, with a legacy of over 200 years, serving generations of customers. So along with a widespread network of branches, we also have international presence in major financial centers across the globe. So I particularly represent the global markets vertical of my bank. We deal with the bank's investment book and foray into banks dealing with the rupee market, the forex market, and the equity markets, among others. So I am right now serving as a relationship manager treasury for marketing of treasury products, and I am a part of RTME Ernakulam. We have a dedicated treasury marketing unit for Kerala, so I am part of that. Now coming to SBI, we always try to be a one-stop solution for all your financing needs, maybe even if you are an exporter, importer, or a retail customer. So my endeavor through the next few minutes will be to take you through some of our products which will be helpful for the exporter-importer community who are present here. Now starting off with the export-import finance. Of course, the majority of the work, if you are an exporter, you already would have done. Finding the exportable item, finding a buyer in overseas, sending them samples, sending them quotes, and after that you get a firm quote or a firm order. And after getting a firm order, of course, you'll be requiring working capital. And that is where we as a bank steps in. So we offer working capital in majorly two modes for exporter-importer community. One is EPC, export packing credit in INR, and our EPC rates are linked to T-bill, which is one of the we can say benchmark used by every bank uses different benchmark for the products. We use T-bill, and it is the cheapest for the customer, as you can see from the illustrative rates which I have presented here. Similarly, you can use a PCFC, that is packing credit in foreign currency, if you require the same. And those are linked to alternate ready reference rates, which are called ARR. Like for US, it is USD, it is SOFR, SOFR. So I have I've given a snapshot of the rates, present rates as well. Now PCFC is self-extinguishing. That is, you're drawing PCFC you're converting it to INR, and your proceeds which are coming in USD will be self-liquidating your loan. Now, apart from that, we have post-shipment finance products as well, which are similar to the pre-shipment finance. And other than that, for importers, we have some interesting products like buyer's credit. It's a very popular product. It's not a new product, of course, but many people have been using the same. What happens is in buyer's credit, we arrange for short-term funding through our overseas lenders, which in case are our overseas establishment of our own SBI, like SBI Canada, SBI Mauritius. So we actually take quotes from them for funding you. And this can be a very cheap source of funding, especially for short term, based on your working capital cycle, of course, and is frequently availed by many importers. Now, of course, as you all know, recently our government has announced the export promotion mission just 2 days back. Of course, it has two sub-schemes, that is the Niryat Protsahan and the Niryat Disha. And the major focus area is to, not only give financial support, which was earlier also there in the form of interest equalization scheme. If there are exporters in the house, of course they will know this. And apart from that, there are non-financial enablers as also for helping them to find market access. Now, parallelly with the same scheme, the government has also launched the credit guarantee scheme for exporters, that is the CGSC. And for that, they have they already have a National Credit Guarantee Trustee company. In today's news, I did find that they have agreed to fund 2,000 crores for the company so that they can, stand as guarantee for up to 20,000 crores of export finance for MSME customers. Now, just one more thing about the same. The aim is to provide working capital up to 20% of the sanctioned working capital limit. I'm saying this because this might be helpful for you. And it is, of course, collateral free. Yes, apart from the same, there is an IEIBX ecosystem which has, come up in the recent years. India had its first, this is India International Bullion Exchange. It was started in 2002, and it is the only such exchange in our country. Here, importers, especially the gold importers and silver importers, they can buy physically gold and trade the same. Now, SBI was the first bank to become a trading cum clearing member of IIBX in 2024, and also has become recently a special category client for importing gold and silver. So going ahead, this ecosystem is going to unravel itself, and SBI is well positioned to help the customers in this regard. Now next, this is where our expertise comes in. I am part of the treasury, as I told you. So we are constantly analyzing the global markets and how they affect our different markets, especially the rupee market, forex markets, and the equity markets. Now, as you know, the markets are always in a flux. Some of it could be rational, and some of it could be irrational at times as well. Now, major data points of different major countries like US, UK affect our markets as well. So, some inflation, growth prospect, labor market dynamics, all affect the markets, including the currency markets. Now, India being a net importer of crude oil, the crude oil price is always a point to watch out for. And its range, of course, we know the Gulf crisis in the past and how it affected our commodity prices. So this is one aspect we do keep a note of. And apart from that, our central banks across the world, they have changing stances regarding their policies, their monetary policies. It could be expansionary at one point of time, it could be restrictive. Now I'll explain in the next few slides how the trend is right now in the market. And of course, the political stability, war adds premium to anything, and peace provides a discount. That is the adage always used in the market. Now this is the present macro view. Now if you note, we all are in a rate cutting cycle. The major economies, yes, UK and US are cutting their rates. The rate cutting, rate of cutting rate, that is the acceleration towards rate cutting, may differ. As you must have read in newspapers, the US shutdown, which had stood for 42, 43 days, has come to an end. Now a spate of data is expected from US, which will definitely affect the markets going around. Apart from this here, Middle East tensions are always, Middle East is always a boiling point as far as markets are concerned, with some or the other war going on. And in fact, in the last year, during the Red Sea crisis, our freight costs and crude oil prices went up, and that definitely affected a lot of exporters here. Now, thankfully, there are some green shoots, like in the form of China plus one policy, where every major country is trying to not be dependent on China and are trying to looking for other partners, and India is well positioned to take that place. Now, this is our short-term currency outlook, which we have mentioned here. Now, the good points, India's growth story and the resilient economy will keep INR in good stead. But of course, because I told you we are a net importer of crude oil, so the crude oil prices, the OPEC plus policy, apart from that, the safe haven demand and the widening trade deficits. These are some of the headwinds which our currency pair will face. Now, this is the global tariff landscape as you know it. Now, of course, April 2025 was the time when it all started for us, and the markets went into mayhem. And we all know that right now India is having a 50% tariff put by United States of America. Of course, there is a trade negotiation going on, and we expect it to reduce to 15-20% bracket in near future when the trades are concluding. Now, of course, when there is a crisis, when the markets are always in a flux, it is always advised that every firm should have a hedging policy. Now, that should be a part of your risk management policy. As they say that having no plan is not a plan at all. So, hedging in itself helps you stabilize your cash flows, enhance liquidity, and transfer some of the risks which are inherent in your business as exporters and importers. So, hedging tools should be always chosen as per the risk appetite of your of the company, and it could vary as the company grows. Now, these are some of the hedging tools which are available with our exporter-importer customers. Now, as you can see, forwards are one of the most simplest of hedging tools. Of course, we can add layers to the same and go for options, structures, swaps. I'll give you a brief idea in the next few slides about what all comprise of these. Yes, this is the first one I'm talking about is forward contracts, of course. Forward contract has been there since time immemorial, maybe even times of since Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. A forward contract is essentially a contract where you are to honor a certain price which is pre-booked in advance. Here, the advantage is that you lock in a certain rate and your margins are then fixed. You can fix your margins accordingly. But one disadvantage is that you cannot participate in any market volatility after that. So there is a case of opportunity loss in that case. So to overcome the same, the market only found out and created plain vanilla options. Now what options are? Options are giving you an opportunity to participate in the market's upside and downside, whereas protecting you in a form of insurance. So just to illustrate, for an importer, This one. I'll just explain about the importer part, and the exporter part you'll easily understand after that. Importer usually they buy a call option. This option gives you a right, but there is no obligation involved. What it essentially does is that if the rates are not going in your favor, you can exercise the same. But if the rates are in your favor, you pay an upfront premium and get to participate in that movement. Of course, due to brevity of time, I cannot fully explain the same, but this is the basic concept. Similarly, for exporters, we have the put options. Now, these are all to guard you against the vagaries of the market. Now, of course, in this time of AI, when you hear news about AI every day, of course, we cannot be far behind about our digital products. So this is just a showcase of what all digital products we are having. We have our payment and collections, cash management products, forex products. Everything is brought under a single platform of YONO Business. So by being a part of YONO Business, you can access digitally all these solutions. We have different relationship managers for each vertical, be it SME, that is the trade credit business, treasury like me, RMT, I'm a relationship manager treasury. We have Mr. Naveen here, who is a RMCA, relationship manager for current accounts. So we have such differentiation in our bank, and these products are there available digitally as well. Just to showcase, we have eForex for taking rates. You can take your rates yourself by checking the markets, how it is faring. You can book according to your own needs. So there's a facility for the same. We have it in YONO Business. It's called eForex. And apart from that, there is a CCAL platform also available for FX Retail, called FX Retail. And in eForex, we have for 3 currency pairs, that is USD, GBP and Euro. In FX Retail, we only have USD INR till now. But both are a self rate taking mechanism. You can employ the same. And apart from the same, of course, some customers are not in requirement of credit, and they still want to get good rates through us. So we have brought out an SBI import-export traders current account. So this could be very beneficial. With the rates, the charges are flat, and the charges are flat, and the operations are very seamless. So you could definitely check out for the same. And apart from that, of course, the age-old EFC accounts are also there, available with us. They are available in 7 currencies. What you can do as an usually the exporters definitely use this. You can time the market and aim for better conversions and better earnings using EFC accounts. So this is also available across our branches. Now, apart from the same, if you have foreign conventions, if your employees are going out in bulk, you can always employ your foreign travel card. Now this eliminates the translation and transaction costs. It minimizes the same, and you can reload the same using our website as well. So these are all available, and this can be taken on retail behalf, or if you are a company, you can use your EFC account to fund the same. Those are all available with us. So this was a short presentation. I request you to visit nearest branches. We have, as I told you, we have specialized verticals. We have SME branches. We have treasury for your support. We have forex branches as well. So please employ our services so that as you also grow, we also help you in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you, Arun Kumar, Head Regional Treasury Marketing Unit SBI, for the presentation. I request Dr. K. Singma, Professor Jain University, kindly come over and have a complimentary memento on behalf of Vicky. I request Dr. Sigma to kindly stay on the dais. As you know, this program has been coordinated, was done with the support of CTL. Without CTL support, we could not have done this program. And we really like to thank CTL, especially Dr. James Nedumbara, Professor, Head, Center for. He's also from Kerala, and he has got a lot of passionate for the Kerala to go into all these aspects of extreme trade also. I'd like you to have complimentary the exchange to Dr. James also, please. And also other speakers of CTL, Mr. Vishishta Malhotra. I think she has already left. Anybody can collect on behalf of CTL, no issue. And also Mr. Imjit Kaur. Yeah. Yeah, please, sir. So once again, thank you all of you for kindly joining for this program, and kindly do join for the networking lunch. Thank you.